Hello, ladies and gentlemen. As with you always, this is Max, and I'm not going to do a live video today on XRP. Maybe I will. I'm kidding. Glad to have you guys here tonight. So glad. I got more into this thing, a deep dive with Mena Lagwar in regards to Jasmy. And if anything, think outside the box. We have quite the outline for you tonight in regards to tying in some things that you might not have been aware of that I think is personally big. A Vanguard connection. I know that sounds absolutely nuts. We're going to dive into that. It won't be like an hour or 2 hour deep dive, but it's definitely worth paying attention to. On top of that, we're going to get into some of the other recent news that we saw in regards to BlackRock. Legrand Commission tweeted that out earlier. Thought I would share that with you guys. Obviously, retweeted it. We have some info from Will Fix. So last night, I shared Will Fix's video. Only had like 25 views at the time, and it absolutely blew up. I think he's up over 6,000 views. His first crypto video, if you will, and he was talking about his point of view on regards to Ripple's XRP and its great perspective. The key thing is this: members of our community getting involved, getting the word out there, and sharing their insights. How cool is that? All right, let's get into the comments. We have a great outline for you guys tonight. Please smash that like if you haven't done so already. Let's see how we're doing on likes real quick. We are currently at 14 likes, 18 people watching. Not too bad. Let's get into actually super chat that I saw pop up. And oh man, it's an old familiar face, the original member of the previous channel. Awesome. It is the one and only. Let's see here. I think it's Todd, aka Common Sense. Not Common Sense Crypto, you guys, but Common Sense, right? He goes, but you know, his name's Todd. So there's Rich, then there's Todd. Let me pull up that super chat real quick. Actually, getting down to there's other super chats. I apologize. Let's get into what's actually first on the list. So I want to respect everybody. I want to welcome Edward Vincent. He says, you know, he's a new member. Thank you, Edward. And if there's still a bug in regards to the gifting of memberships and so on, like I said, I was hoping to be able to do it last night. I had a lot of trouble with my dad, unfortunately. I'll try to make him excuses and so on, but I'm going to get into it. I am going to get it sorted out. So if there's any problems, I really apologize for that. But nonetheless, I want to recognize Edward Vincent. Good to have you, Mr. Squidward. And we're going to go further down into the comments. Also going to thank Henry Brown for his $2 super chat. He says, hit like, share the video. Thank you so much. Yes, share the live stream. It definitely helps, you know, because even when it gets chopped up later, that's one thing. But, you know, the replays, people do watch the replays. So thank you so much to Henry Brown. Appreciate you, brother. We're definitely going to get some work going on this weekend in regards to what we're working on. And then I'm also going to obviously welcome back the one and only Common Sense. Todd, thank you so much, man. It was so great being able to reconnect with you. Welcome. Glad that you found the channel. Obviously, I gave you a link earlier, but I'm glad that we were able to reconnect and so on. Guys, let's welcome, you know, literally the OG of OGs, well into, gosh, April of last year. Common Sense. Thank you so much for the $50 super chat. He says he loves the channel, Max. Wish me all the best. Hey, not just me, us. Thank you so much. Really awesome to see you back. And hopefully we see you more on a regular basis, my friend. I know you're a very busy guy, but can't thank you enough, man. Thank you so much. All right, let's see here. We're also glad that people welcome back. I almost said Rich. Welcome back, Todd. I see Rick Cogswell is here. I'm also going to welcome Selma Fudd, a lot of you guys. So I'm going to start off with double checking the other screen. I think we're good for the most part. Oh, I see that Rick Cogswell is the new a new member as well. Let's recognize him as well. Just give me a second. And let's see here. I think it's towards the bottom of this list. And then we'll get into our outline here in a bit. But yes, Rick, really appreciate you, man. Obviously appreciate the content. Says that he became a member. I don't know if it's, you know, you actually doing the gift or whatever the case be. Again, guys, apologize for that. I'll get that sorted out. So give me the benefit of the doubt, time to, you know, sort through YouTube and do the technical stuff and get that worked out. So definitely appreciate you, Rick, for being here. Guys, welcome all newcomers, OGs, you name it. Pretty cool stuff. And let's just double check things real quick. We're doing pretty good, pretty good. Also see Robert Brewer's here, Zara, which means Michael Montclair is here. All you guys, welcome. Glad to have you here tonight. I'm going to start off with the first comment of the day. It does come from Tim Shea, who obviously says, hey, right? Good to see it, Mr. Tim Shea, Mayor Crypto Commissioner. Just welcome a few more of you guys representing that 589th. Absolutely. Patrick Collier basically informed me. He's like, you know what, Max? Dang it. I got this problem now. I walk around or drive down the street and I basically say, Jasmy, no scam, right? Yeah, I know. It's kind of like a popular thing. Good to see you. Also, Brittany, happy Thursday. And let's see here. Also going to welcome Mr. Selmo Fudd. Good to see you as well. Nice picture you posted on Twitter in regards to your coming out of basic and so on. Man, looking really, really sharp back in 87, doing it big. Thank you so much for your service, man. I really mean that. And it was cool that you shared that picture. I'll have to, like it and retweet it. All right, we got Will Fix in the house. He says, what's up? I want to state this. So I'll give you an update. Mr. Todd, Common Sense, if you're still listening, this is the guy I was telling you about. This is Will Fix. He has gone through, he gave me a little brief report in regards to Tradex. And then if anything, you guys, we're going to do more of, sharing it with you guys maybe next week of what that app is all about. It's a free app. It's pretty awesome. If anything, you can, toy around with it for now. You can check it out if you want. It's called Tradex. And the nice thing about even though I need to get more into it, is you can basically set up stop orders, for instance. And I know here's the reason why I'm bringing it to you guys. For one, this is common sense, right? Todd, great member of our community. But on top of that, again, it's a free app, right? It don't cost you anything. You can get on the Apple App Store. You can get on Google Play Store. Now, here's the thing. You guys know that I don't really do paid shilling or anything like that. But I am fully aware, obviously, that you guys still have your DJ in place. And hey, nothing wrong with that. I guess I technically do from, early 2022 and so on. But this app is pretty cool. I mean, just on the surface, basically speaking, you can have your buy and sell orders set. And even if, like, for instance, God forbid, a project, went 20 or 30% down, you can set that up. So fortunately, some of you guys, might have got wrecked in early 2022 and so on, certain DGen plays and whatnot. How would you like to have an app that actually can protect you from the oh crap moments, right? So it's called Tradex, Tradix. Ticker symbol is TX. I already just kind of briefly looked at it and so on. There's 100 million of the tokens, so it is tokenized. There's 100 million, and it's fully in circulation, 100% supply. Another thing that he mentioned was a former Fidelity, a guy that's connected with Fidelity, is a dev from this. He's fully doxxed. So again, guys, I'm going to do my own proper research before getting more into it and showing you guys about it and so on. But on the surface, it sounds pretty cool. Again, I'm not the most degen type guy and so on, but I do like the idea that there's apps like this that are free and it protects us, especially like from getting rug pulled and so on. Obviously, we talk about the blue chips here and so on, the generational wealth and so on. But the point is, we all want to be protected. There is a percentage of us that still do the degen stuff and whatnot. Hey, nothing wrong with that. You do you, right? But the thing is, I told Todd, I was like, I want to something to obviously protect our community and so on. This seems pretty cool, and we will get more into it probably by next week. Over the week, I'm going to dive more into Tradex. Ticker symbol is TX if you're interested. All right, going more down into the comments. I see Dreamer is back. He says, hey, all, glad to have you here, Dreamer. Going to welcome a few more of you guys. Dwight is also in the house. Blessings to everyone. We're approaching about the 10-minute mark, and we're also just going to welcome a few more of you guys. Glad to have you here, Mr. Dwight. Vaughn Tress. Obviously, you guys are welcome back. Todd, a.k.a. Common Sense. Good to see y'all. Obviously, Mr. Boomer F. Sooner. Hopefully, you're going to enjoy this Jasmy segment that we have coming up. It is the main highlight of tonight's show. You guys know a lot of times we, can't cover everything in one night that you see tagged here, but we do try our best to get through it, in regards to the weekly lineup. All right. just going to obviously welcome a few more of you guys. Again, I really appreciate you being here. We're also going to, let's see here. Welcome Stump Rider is also here. We have Adoljawad, GS. Again, guys, awesome. Good to see you. I'll welcome one more person. It's Corey B-Bay. Says, good evening, everyone. Thanks for everything, Max. I wish everyone the best in health and wealth. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and do right now is going to double check the other screen. Please smash the like. We are at 23 likes, and I do see another super chat came through, so I do want to recognize that because I don't want to get into a big long outline. It's not really a super long outline. Before make you guys wait in that regard. And knowing that, it takes a chance of you not having a super chat read. So I want to recognize. I think it's Brittany. Believe it or not, I do think it's Brittany. So let me see here, real quick. It is Brittany with the 1999 super chat. Wow, thanks, Brittany. That's awesome. So cool. So very cool of you. That was incredible. Let me see if that was a super sticker real quick. Let's see here. It is a super chat, so that's fine. Super stickers, super chats, you name it. It's pretty cool stuff. But I do appreciate it, Brittany. That was really awesome of you. I'm at least give you a little heart back on that one. Apologize if I didn't get everybody else their little heart back. But yeah, we're gonna get into this, and guys, I mean, it's really something to see this, especially with you guys. I really do appreciate it, and I gave you a heart as well, Mr. Rich, or not Rich. I keep saying Rich at Common Sense Crypto. Todd of Common Sense. Now you guys wonder why I kept saying Rich at Common Sense Crypto. That's what I kept doing it, because Todd was our original Common Sense. Anyway. I do see Salamander's in the house. Salamander, XCC Commander, glad to have you. Dwayne Diesel, also welcome. Glad to have you. Let's get into what we have for tonight in regards to Jasmy. And how about this for size? You're going to be like, Max, you're doing it again. Jasmy and QNT? What about Jasmy and Energy Web Token? Nope. It's going to be used as an example. So I want to state this. If you Jasmy is your thing tonight, you have tuned in on a great broadcast tonight. So this isn't going to be where I'm like, hey, there's a Jasmy, like I did before, Jasmy QNT connection. If anything, Energy Web Token is going to be used as an example to basically bring something to you that you might not have been aware about. I want you guys to honestly, whether you hold Jasmy or not, think outside the box and realize the main goals of achieving what? Society 5.0, but also realizing like key industry players, if you will, Vanguard and whatnot, right? We always mention Vanguard, BlackRock, and so on, and how they come to the mix. So first of all, I want you guys to give Menno Logwar a follow if you haven't done so. He can be followed on the X platform, just like you see right here, formerly known as X. And his name is Menno Logwar. I'm going to type it into the comments. And here it is right here. Men Logwar. And when you see this, I'll type a little bit better. I'm sorry. There we go. This is the right one, man. Yeah, give him a follow on X. I just put it into the comments. And just like Neo X Tricks, you want to follow some of these guys. They're going to keep you informed, especially when it comes to the real deep information, especially on Jasmy. So without further ado, let's go ahead and kick it into our Jasmy coverage. I'm going to put on some of the branding real quick. All right, let's get into this. Again, I'll re-advise you guys to please smash that like, because if anything, I feel like we're going to earn it tonight when it comes to this coverage, this deep coverage in regards to Jasmy and so on. So currently we're at 30 likes, and I want you to see this for yourself. This is pretty cool stuff. First, I'm going to get into my notes real quick. And basically speaking, Menno Logwar, got more into this topic. And this is a big topic to get into. And basically speaking, there is this whole thing in regards to something that he was kind of curious about. And now it obviously spiked my curiosity. And, we talked about things researching, obviously quant from, the whole thing with BlackRock and, the ghost inside the machine in regards to Aladdin. Aladdin also can cover another particular area that we need to bring to your attention. So basically speaking, how do we tie this whole thing in regards to Aladdin, even with Jasmy? Well, easy. AI. I want you to think about this. It's super deep. It's super interesting, just like Menelogwar basically mentioned. And, there's just crazy layers of stuff we can get into in regards to Jasmy. But basically, artificial intelligence, BlackRock, all this stuff, it's nuts, right? Absolutely nuts. And I'm gonna share this. I'm just trying to get this primed and loaded because I had it earlier. But when we get into some of these key things, excuse me a second, I had to get the right page up. There's this project in regards to SoftBank, BlackRock, and Clarity AI. All right, I had to load up the notes because some people DM me and then my note meter goes crazy. But yes, SoftBank and BlackRock, Clarity AI. What is Clarity AI? Okay, do I have your attention? So some of you guys who are the nerds of our, blockchain DLT enthusiast crew may know about this. Most do not. Let's just be honest. Here it is. It's called Clarity, literally called Clarity. Kind of funny how we always talk about regulatory clarity, right? No pun intended. But this particular site, which is at clarity.ai, talks about sustainability, sustainably, right? Sorry about that. Invest sustainably, shop sustainably, and report or benchmark for sustainably with ease of use or ease to use AI-powered tech. They have a lot that's mentioned here, their platform, what they're into, right? But they talk about this right here, and it states that you can build blocks for every sustainability use case. You can cover your needs related to data. And of course, we're going to tie this all into the whole thing of why we would make it even a Jasmy connection here, okay? But it goes on to mention that there's a lot of capabilities in regards to modular infrastructure. Even though the concept of, like the example I mentioned, modular power supply, being able to have more options and compared to one linear option, right? So they have, of course, the mission, and I do want to share this with you for just a moment. Let's pull this up. And as this pulls up, it says this is their mission. They want to bring an impact to the markets. I think the whole purpose of Aladdin is to bring huge impact to the institutional investors, right? So it goes on to mention they, of course, create this whole thing with the decisions of data-driven, unbiased information, thereby increasing user confidence in their decisions and how it makes a basic, impact in regards to this. So I'm going to play this for just a brief bit, and then we're going to do, in my opinion, a good job of why you should pay attention to this. It's not a nothing burger at all. It'll really raise some eyebrows and give you greater insight to the big picture of all this. So please smash that like if you haven't done this already. Let's go ahead and play this real quick.
Clarity AI is the leading tech platform measuring the social and environmental impact of investments and organizations. Powered by machine learning, Clarity AI has built the most comprehensive and customizable solution to assess sustainability, combining the highest quality data and algorithms, science-based scores, and sophisticated tools for all the critical areas: ESG risk, impact, climate, and regulation. Through Clarity AI's seamless integration into your workflows and platform, or by accessing our end-to-end web application, sustainability assessment has never been easier. Clarity AI, bringing social impact to markets.
All right, not super long, obviously, right? Social impact to markets. Let that resonate in your head for a second. Now, getting more into this, I want to share some more notes with you guys. And basically speaking, that when we talked about Clarity AI, like we just did, there's this whole thing about collecting what is referred to as ESG data. Now, do you know about ESG data, or does that sound Greek to you? Now, for the average person, it may definitely seem very, very Greek to you. And guess what? That's okay. Let's introduce what the heck this is all about in regards to ESG data. So for one, what is ESG data analytics, and what's this basically like? What's their strategy, right? So basically speaking, back to the whole thing with Vanguard, right? Investors want sustainable companies in their portfolios. True. Simultaneously, governments and consumers expect companies to conduct their business operations, of course, responsibly. After all, the world knows how industrial activities have threatened environmental and social harmony. Again, hence why clarity, you see the whole thing about mentioning the whole social thing. This post will explore ESG data. Now, I'm not going to get into all of it. I'm just going to give you the nitty gritty because I don't want to make this 2 hours. But what is ESG data analytics? And if anything, why is that important to you, especially as a Jasmy holder? And I know it seems crazy to mention some of these things, but ESG data analytics leverages, just think about this for a second, right? And we're going to definitely tie in what Ewan Legrand shared in regards to BlackRock a little bit later into the show. But this data analytics for ESG leverages computing science and statistics to inspect an organization's environmental, social, and governance compliance levels. And we're always talking about regulatory compliance, but what about some of the other compliance? Now, as we know, when it comes to Jasmy, they're the first of its kind, or the first, I should say, when it comes to Japan and regulatory compliance. You know, Japan is so much more strict compared to the United States when it comes to regulatory compliance. So, with that said, look at this. Industries and asset managers, because we do talk about BlackRock and we also talk about Vanguard, utilize ESG data analytics for sustainability, accounting compliance, reporting, and peer analysis. Hence why you see, for instance, the Aladdin AI so turbocharged, if you will. Going more into this, 2 companies in the same industry that will perform differently on ESG markets. There's this whole thing of data analysts that have redeveloped their legal compliance models to address challenges in comparative studies. But look at this. In regards to that ESG report, it states that what they offer, will impact investors to make more informed choices regarding whether to buy or sell a particular stock. You know, it's kind of funny. We can even give Todd, aka Common Sense, who are part of our community. Think about what his app provides in regards to Tradex, right? So, what about some of the components of this ESG analysis? And again, I'm just going to highlight 2 things before I get too deep into that: environmental and social. For the purposes of what we didn't mention already, I'm going to bring this whole thing to you in regards to environmental. Number 1. Sustainable accounting guidelines expect corporations to address carbon risk associated with their industrial operations. You're type of nerd that takes notes in regards to that, don't forget that one. So metrics like deforestation and threats to biodiversity will encompass mining, construction, and even fishing companies. You know, here at MaximusCrypto, I joke around and with Magic Power and so on, and I say, Jasmy with the Rice Crop Consortium. But is that really a joke, or is that a real thing? Again, we're going to reference that here in a bit as well. Now, jumping into more of why you need to pay attention to this, I'm going to get back into my own notes here in a bit. Basically speaking, Menelaguar had a lot that I guess you could say needs to be mentioned. So for one, we talked about Clarity AI and the collecting of ESG data, right? So you got to keep in mind, in regards to Jasmy's pairing with the yen, as in, of Japan, right, is crucial in regards to the step forward to get heavy into this ESG sector. Now, do I have your attention? And all those green carbons, does that also have your attention? ESG data gives Aladdin super sight, for instance, because we did talk about Aladdin in regards to the whole quant coverage that we had. Gives them super sight in carbon market, and BlackRock, for instance, even backing who? For you guys who are invested into Energy Web Token, well, backing Energy Web Token, and of course one of its founders, which are TEPCO. Now, this seems like a little bit speculative, but is there really a connection here? And if anything, is it worth pointing out? What's worth pointing out is the industry players, and if anything, even from an educational side of things. And if you know where I'm going with this, you better know where I'm going with this. Kunitake Ando, right? Absolutely. So here's the bigger picture, okay? And that is, can we take the next big step into this whole data sector of ESG? And if so, why is it so important to recognize, for instance, Vanguard, who's buying into Japanese energy projects? Does that not have your attention as well? So I want to take you over to a reminder in regards to Jasmy and some of these industries, obviously. Okay. So, for one, the thing I want to point out here is in regards to what was posted a while back from Jasmy in regards to carbon credits, their initiative, all this stuff, right? So, basically speaking, this is from their Medium a while back. And the cool thing here is, even though it's an old report, tying the past into the present to give you a broader perspective of, wow, this is something else. I have an idea now of the bigger picture. So, from Jasmy Medium, it states environment set forth guidelines for decarbonization trading in October 2021, right? A couple of years ago, literally, we're in October. They talk about voluntary credits are attracting increasing attention in Japan since this credit can be issued in a short period. What's one of the key industry players or institutional players that are into Japan for all this? Yeah, Vanguard. So NCCC will create voluntary carbon credits using local Japanese advantages such as forest, agricultural lands. Hence why we referenced the Rice Crop Consortium. We'll get into that a little bit later. But in addition, by utilizing ICT and calculating CO2 absorption, we as in Jasmy aim to improve the efficiency of the certification process, shorten the time required to issue the credits, and lower the price of just that, those credits. Now, for all the criticism Jasmy's gotten, in regards to jumping from one chain to this new thing, why give it so much criticism? Understand that they are sticking to that roadmap, or if anything, what was suggested into the white paper, that in order to fulfill some of these things that are part of this outline, you have to have scalability. So it is to be expected that an AI blockchain solution of layer 2 would make sense. So getting into this, it says that they aim to improve this efficiency of the certification process, shorten the time required, so on and so forth. The increase in abandoned farmland, listen to this for a second, and poorly managed forests in Japan due to the lack of subsequent owners caused by its population aging and declining birth rate is a social issue. Remember, we also talked about that just previously. And of course, it's an issue for local Japanese communities to prevent disasters and conserve biodiversity. Now, when we get to the Nagoya University segment, you're going to understand the bigger picture here. For one, and here's the key highlight, and this is even from Hara originally. Hara wanted us all to pay attention to this key thing here. And I know Hara gets a lot of criticism, but at least I'll give him credit on this. And that is Jasmy Incorporated strongly, of course, supports NCCC's initiatives to create carbon credits and revitalize what? The market. The market. Then you see what we're going to also show here in regards to Vanguard. So just hold tight. Look into this. It says we will contribute to realizing a carbon neutral and decarbonized society by providing various tech such as a token issuance and unique blockchain tech. Hence, obviously tying everything in regards to AI, Internet of Things, and guess what? Branching into finance. But for the purposes of tonight's outline, we'll focus mainly on still IoT, AI, and so on. Now, getting back a little bit more into my notes, I want to point out some other key things here. And again, thanks to Mental Logware. And that basically is why Vanguard is buying so much into all of this. All right. And that's a great question, right? I mean, we all want to know about that. But before we give you a little bit more in regards to actual proof of Vanguard, because I mean, some people know about it, some people don't, let's be honest. We got to fast track to Nagoya, okay? And if you're wondering in regards to Nagoya, there's this whole thing in regards to Nagoya University. And basically speaking, there are two very important R&D projects in the work, all right? So for one, I'm going to pull up this real quick. And for one, it's, I guess you could say it's Kunitake Ando. So I want to share this just in case for you're a newcomer and you're like, I have no idea where he's going with this. Kunitake Ando is basically the head honcho over at Jasmy. Okay. He is a former Sony executive, as we know. He even shared the stage with Steve Jobs, I believe back in 2005 in regards to Apple and so on. And if anything, he's put in more than enough time in regards to all of this, the Internet of Things, Sony, you name it, even with Jasmy. Some people have stated that Kazumasa Sato will probably be the next in line to just be the number one guy to take it away. And, Ando might just be an honorary chairman at some point. Who knows, right? But still, we do need to recognize Ando because like you see on the screen here at the very bottom, Ando currently serves as chairman of the University of Nagoya, right? Or Nagano, excuse me. And, when we tie in all this and so on, it's like, very, very interesting to see all this, and the locations and so on. I know we talk about Nagoya and then this is Nagano, but my point is I want you guys to see the broader picture, the broader perspective in regards to this. So regarding Nagoya, sorry about that. They are also working on some of these ambitious renewable energy initiatives, excuse me. Sometimes when it comes to Nagoya, Nagano, it's easy to get kind of that mixed up. But my point is ESG goals, right? So they're aimed at integrating various clean energy sources like solar and wind into the existing grid. Companies like Shubu Electric are also involved. It aligns with broader ESG goals. Now, back to the whole thing of not just Nagoya, but the whole thing of this original tweet from Hara in regards to carbon credits and all that. Here it is. And basically speaking, he stated a while back, I think it was a few months ago, supporting the global carbon neutral challenge, Jasmy, joins the Rice Crop Consortium. Hence why I always joke about it, right? The Rice Crop Consortium, right? But it's a real thing, just in case you didn't know that, okay? And it's to generate credits and promote carbon neutrality. Like he also mentioned, blockchain carbon credit exchange built on Jasmy platform provides a reliable and convenient environment for the distribution and use of credits. It was originally posted in the PR Times. And, you got to keep in mind, that's a pretty darn big publication. Blowing this up a little bit bigger. Yes, it's in Japanese, but you do see here the industries are going to contribute to this, whether it's NTT Communications, WaterCell, and even Jasmy. All right, getting more into why you should pay attention to this. Here we go. And basically speaking, Menelagar's got some more notes, obviously. And basically speaking, he states that in regards to mobility, there's also this whole thing in regards to SoftBank and Toyota. They have an initiative of focusing on smart transportation solutions, including autonomous vehicles, smart city infrastructure, hence why we talk about Society 5.0. But basically speaking, Toyota is an active participant given its headquarters and R&D facilities in the Nagoya area. Now, in regards to Nagano University, I apologize to that. We're going to show you that connection. Sometimes with all the Japanese cities and so on, even I can mess that part up, but I'm going to get that straight for you. All right. So getting into this, I wanted to point out was, again, back to the whole thing of not just Vanguard, but we're going to talk about BlackRock, for instance, right? Because we talked about Energy Web Token and so on. And the key thing in regards to the outline is this whole concept of ESG data. Now, this is where I want you to think outside the box in regards to Jasmy entering into this particular sector, okay? So for one, all the way back on December 1st of 2020, let me just double check you can see this okay. Yes, you can. Good. Thank God, right? Anyway, BlackRock back on the end of 2020, they unveiled a new offering to power investors. And of course, this was a transition to net zero emissions. Hopefully this still has your attention. Remember we talked about Aladdin. So for one, Aladdin Climate sets a new standard, at least then, in providing investors actionable security level data on climate risk. Are you not paying attention to how we're tying all this in? Of course, at the time, they had new partnerships with Sustain Analytics. And again, at the beginning of the outline, you even saw Clarity AI in regards to Sustain Analytics. See how it's all tied in? Crazy stuff, right? And just because, it's a different institutional juggernaut, if you will, they all have similar interests. And some of those similar interests are Sustain Analytics, right? Or not Sustain Analytics, Sustain Analytics, excuse me. Read too much, the words just kind of come up on the screen at some point. It's just another word. But anyway, Refinitiv add to ESG data indicators, and of course that's available through Aladdin. Back to Aladdin for a second, because this is good. Aladdin Climate, of course, was the first software application to offer investors measures of both the physical risk of climate change and the transition risk to a low carbon economy on portfolios with climate adjusted security valuations and risk metrics. So that's always worth paying attention to. There's a quote from Rob Goldstein, who is BlackRock's chief operating officer. He says, yet while lots of people are talking about climate risk today, and they are, let's face it, they still are, what investors need to make informed decisions is data tied to specific securities in their portfolio. That in itself is interesting. Does that even fuel more of the debate of, the ones that are going to survive of this 99% that are going to go away in regards to crypto? I'm just saying. There's the evolution in regards to ESG data. And again, this is why I want to point some things out for Jasmy. I think why Menalogwar wants to point out as well. Investors have long highlighted the need for improved ESG data to increase sustainable investing strategies. Right. Now the dramatic growth in relevant corporate disclosures and unstructured data has created unprecedented opportunities to enhance climate analytics. Now, at least back then in 2020, listen to this, more than 85% of S&P 500 companies disclose ESG data compared to 20% 10 years even before that, back in 2010. And sustainability accounting standards boards disclosures, of course, have increased, listen to this, 288% back then. What about a more recent report? Well, I wasn't able to get that, but still worth paying attention to. Now, jumping back to all this, okay? And then again, with the Energy Web Token thing, and I feel as though Energy Web Token is what I need to have in my portfolio. I stated that we had Tokenizer on the show. Energy Web Token is his number two of his top 5 behind Quant. He made that public, right? He's a big proponent of Energy Web Token. So back in August 13th of 2022, all right, BlackRock induced a spike for Energy Web Token. Now, why would that be? Well, they said back then they encouraged projects that focused, listen to this, on energy efficiency, like Energy Web Token, which issues the EWT token. Now, of course, there was a big price spike that happened at that time because, let's face it, it's BlackRock. Now, I get it, you may be saying, well, why are you tying this in with the whole thing of Jasmy? Again, understand ESG data. For Jasmy to enter into the sector, and you saw, for instance, how this impacted Energy Web Token, what about Jasmy? Again, that should catch your attention because we are obviously talking about Vanguard. A little bit more about this. Were you aware that, this was posted, was on MPost, and it stated that BlackRock institutions is encouraged that organizations such as RMI and Energy Web are developing programs to bring greater transparency to sustainable energy usage in, for instance, Bitcoin mining, and will follow progress around this initiative. Now, jumping into the Jasmy part, because you may be wondering about that. Well, for one, you have to keep in mind that Vanguard, if you're wondering, are they really invested into Japan? Yes, they are. Here's the proof in regards to that. So you have Vanguard FTSE Japan UCITS ETF. We're always talking about ETFs, right? Exchange traded funds and so on. This dates back, of course, to 2021. I believe in 2020, they were talking about getting out of Hong Kong and Japan. Then they got, they basically had at least this ETF. So at some point they got back into it. They're still into it. Bottom line for you is they're obviously still invested into Japan. And what exactly does that mean for you as a Jasmy holder and so on, right? Sounds crazy. Well, here's the thing. Investing into Japan. Is this a good time to invest into Japan? And is it a good time for the likes of Vanguard to invest into Japan? Let's answer that. Well, Max, this is 2021. Can you give me something in regards to 2023? I'm right on top of that, my friends. And basically, here we go. Shout out to this guy. And basically speaking, he is, let me just double check real quick because I do want to give him a credit. He is desperately seeking FI, right? Interesting. He's got 1.52 subscribers. He has a YouTube channel and so on. So he's kind of like right around our level, right? I'm going to give a subscription. I'm going to like his video. But anyway, I know I'm not on that page. I want to share this one particular one because it's really fast forward to the where we want to be without the commercials. And yeah, again, is it time to invest into Japan? Here, let me just bring it to that tab. Sorry about that. And the answer basically is yes. And who better than an institutional player, right? A big one. We're always including Vanguard and State Street in the same sentence for the most part when, with the likes of BlackRock, right? Obviously, BlackRock is the king turd of Turd Island, if you will. I guess you can call him the turd, but forget that, all right? The key thing is Vanguard is always in this key mention, okay? So, yes, the answer for me is yes. Is it time to invest in Japan? Yes. But what about Vanguard in Japan? And how about this? Is it recent? Yes, it is recent. There's the proof. August 20th, 2023 is this report from this gentleman. I fast forwarded to this particular segment. He's going to explain some of this. Smash that like, listen to a different perspective, and think outside the box. Even if you don't hold Jasmy, you're going to want to pay attention to this. Here we go.
Go and have a quick look at what we could buy from Vanguard. They do a FTSE Japan ETF under the ticker symbol VJPN. Very original. Vanguard Japan. Yeah. This is basically an ETF made up of 515 stocks. If you were to be buying it today, you'd be paying about £25.65. And it's got quite a nice little ongoing charge in there at 0.15%. As I always say, it's got a risk 6 out of 7. Let's have a quick look at what the objective of this ETF is. It is basically, once again, passive management indexing against the FTSE Japan index and comprised of medium and large size companies in Japan. What's performance look like? A bit up and down. And I suppose this is where Japan has been over the past couple of decades, but potentially looking at some quite strong growth coming forwards. With coming out of COVID, you had a nice increase of about 25%, a drop last year. Everybody basically tanked last year, but good steady growth so far over the last year with about 15% increase taking place. Let's have a quick look and see where the regional exposure is. So within that Pacific region, it then drills down into 100% into Japan. What are we looking at on the weighted exposure across those different sectors? We're looking top 3 being industrials, consumer discretionary, and technology. Coming in very closely behind that, we also have the financials. We have a quick look at which companies we're actually looking to invest into. Some of those big names that we will know, the Toyotas, the Sonys, also into Mitsubishi on the financial, as well as Mitsubishi Core and Hitachi. This does pay a small dividend, something similar to the VUSA side of things, coming in at 1.88%, and this pays quarterly, and it comes in on the same kind of timescale as all the other Vanguard ETFs, looking at that March, June, September and December payments. And it's going to cost you 0.15 of an ongoing charge to hold this ETF. And then on top of that, you also have that platform charge of 0.15%. So reasonably economical to hold this one. And there really are potential for some serious growth within the Japanese market. The main driver behind the growth this year to date has been those large companies in the Nikkei. Potentially that growth comes in from those underlying sort of second tier type of companies. And they, very similar to the FTSE 250, could be the real ones that give you that extra bit of growth. Go away, do some due diligence and have a look and see whether the Japanese market is something that you want to invest into. But why don't you go and have a look at this one, which talks about a wider set, the emerging markets, so also bringing in China and India into the mix as well.
You may wonder, why did I not cut it off right at the part he says, for instance, the secondary, right? That would have been good enough. But the reason why I played the rest of it, because he mentions India, he mentions China. And as we know, when it comes to budget, you can include the likes of India and Bangladesh and some of these other key areas and so on, right? So it's like, yeah, I'm going to include that as well. And that is definitely worth paying attention to. So again, Vanguard, recognizing, like he said, some of these secondary companies, right, or some of the third parties and so on, right, definitely plays an impact. Now, how did we get the whole thing in regards to, Jasmy and so on? I get that, but you want to know something? This is all worth paying attention to, in my book, at least. So for one, let me pull this up for a second. Let me just take you to this. We did talk about Nagoya, right? And, in regards to the bigger picture, let me just pull this up. So Nagoya, all right, here is their site. We talked about the whole thing of even tying into, Toyota, okay? So according to the notes, right, relax and take notes, right, basically speaking, Mr. Menelagar was talking about specifically, I believe it was Toyota. Let me just double check this. Yes, it's correct. So he was stating that the next step forward, basically in regards to like ESG and tying all this together, is mobility, right? Mobility all the way. And we talk about autonomous vehicles. I mean, are we oblivious to think that it's just Tesla? Or of course not, right? There's even some American manufacturers where, we have, electric vehicles, right? I mean, it's not just Tesla. But SoftBank and Toyota, there's this initiative that focuses on smart transportation solutions, including autonomous vehicles and, of course, smart city infrastructure, like I mentioned earlier. Guys, again, towards the whole main goal of Society 5.0. That's the main objective. I'm not going to give up on the idea just because I might not like the idea that Hara might not be the best for PR. He needs some help. But again, I understand the main utility layers of Jasmy and what it's connecting to. Big key players that are part of all this. So in regards to all this smart city infrastructure, even Toyota is part of that. We know that Jasmy is not directly partnered with Toyota, but it's the subsidiaries, right? And again, like I've always mentioned before, it's like saying something like, is Tim Shea Incorporated, partnered up with, Daimler Chrysler Benz or something like that? No, not necessarily. But if anything, Tim Shea Incorporated could be, a subsidiary. And who would the subsidiary be? If you guys know you're done your homework, be Mopar, right? Because that is the subsidiary, and that provides the key parts that you need for your, your Dodge Charger, or, I used to have a Dodge Intrepid back in the day. It got stolen. Yeah, I'm still upset about that. But anyway, that's beside the point. Again, understanding subsidiaries, not the main, the main branded company. Okay. So yes, there is that connection to Toyota with Jasmy through the subsidiary. And we get more into this. And basically speaking, Toyota is an active participant, given its headquarters where? In the facilities of the Nagoya area. So again, let's take you to this. This is Nagoya's site, and this is worth paying attention to. So it says, boldly moving ahead, Nagoya evolves in an era where society is being updated by what? Innovation. Absolutely. Constantly innovating, right? It's time to accept change and boldly move ahead. Goes on to mention, it's you, not others, who change the world. I want you to think about this for a second. What about Jasmy trying to change the world when it comes to entering into Web3, what they bring to the table when it comes to IoT? When I look into utility-driven projects, and I do, and you guys do as well, hence why would you even bother watching this? You understand the bigger picture of things. It's not one that will do it. It is one that is part of the overall goal with a lot of other companies to get the job done. Again, my reference to Hollywood production. Not one person that makes the film, right? We know this when you watch the end credits. Look at Jasmy from that perspective. They are part of those end credits. What kind of end credits? Think about it. The end goal of Society 5.0, right? So again, it's not you, or it is you, like it says. It's not others, but it's those who will change the world. Get on board with the future of their evolution. And they got all sorts of things here that are worth paying attention. They focus on 3 factors to back up the challengers. They're creating a culture where all challengers are prized in order to accelerate value creation to change the world, right? Pretty crazy stuff. I mean, obviously their site is in Japanese. It's basically also in English. But they have all sorts of things here. Human resource development, financial support. They're trying to create all sorts of things. They talk about the city of Nagoya that promotes co-creation through initiatives such as programs for matching startup companies with existing companies. Now, getting more into this, if you think about this for a second, who could be some of those existing companies? I mean, there's just so much stuff to get into, right? They also got this part, support for demonstration experiments. I mean, advanced technologies they're getting into. They want to experiment. They want to find some of those leaders. They want to find some of those change, not decision makers, but some of the industry players that could change the world of Web3 or AI, you name it. How about this whole thing about globalization? They talk about promoting globalization in the local area through initiatives such as programs that support local companies that are aiming for global business development. I couldn't think of another one better than Jasmy. Maybe some of the people feel like, well, I sure as the heck can. But if you think about it, Jasmy is all about this concept of data democratization. Sorry, I keep looking at focus. Somebody keeps calling me. And this key thing of IoT data democratization, but it's not just focused on their own token, but also how do we pair this up to contribute to the local economies for the betterment to get to basically Society 5.0. That's the main thing. All right, I'm going to jump back to my notes real quick, and there's a little bit more in regards to this. Some very interesting research lately from Nagoya University. I want to take you to this. So let's pull this up as well. Give me just a second. Here it is. I believe this is the one. Hold on just a moment. Yeah. All right. So this one, yeah, is referenced from here. There's all sorts of different things listed here and so on. In the notes, it goes on to mention that, you have, I don't know, I guess you could say like a grocery list of this stuff. So basically, I mean, there's these laboratories and organizations that participate in the Secure Science program. But again, what's consistently mentioned here? In what areas, right? Well, Nagoya City, right? University Graduate School. You have Nagoya University here. Talks about the Infrastructure Network Research Group, Information Technology Center, Nagoya University. Goes on more about this. Hold on a second. Pull up another one. I mean, even through medicine, right? What about the whole thing back to carbon? Boom, you have some of this. Nanomaterials, carbon nanotube. Getting more into some of this stuff. Hold on a second. Energy materials, Professor Tetsuya Soga, Nagoya Institute of Technology. So here's the thing, right? All these, and there's 23 pages of this, right? This is the bottom line. All these key ones when it comes to this whole thing of, ESG and data and carbon. I mean, I honestly think it's a really, really big deal. Getting more into this real quick, there's this abstract paper This is also part of my notes real quick. Give me a second, pull this up. There's this abstract paper that talks about some of the research, that we talked about from Nagoya. And we have cited IEEE. I'm sure you guys saw it in the intro of one of my videos. But motion estimation by deep learning using ambient sensor network. Again, guys, think about IoT, Internet of Things, okay? This is straight from IEEE explore.ieee.org. What a title. But in this report, they got this whole thing about the collection of motion data, right? When I think about motion data, I'm literally thinking of like Yoshiba. Remember Yoshiba? He was part of Jasmy. Then he went on to do his own thing at Dreamforce, but he still looked upon as like being an advisor, if you will. But he's contributing to the whole overall goal of Society 5.0. And on his site, there is these sensors, right? In which, basically speaking, you are using, things to gather data in regards, to provide analytics to, for instance, certain teams that need that, or and whatnot. But anyway, there's also baseball. We know that baseball is huge in Japan. It's their number one sport. So there's even a sensor for calculating like how the pitch is coming across, or how a batter hits the ball, or calculate the measurement of how a swing is. And we've seen some of the controversial stuff even lately in regards to Major League Baseball. But they have this whole thing in which they collect this motion data of 7 subjects from these measurements and units, and even look at this, smartphones simultaneously using their ambient sensor network. They, of course, estimate 7 types of human motion, stand-up. So all this information, and again, reference back to Nagoya. Now, we understand that that's Nagoya, and some people state, well, what about Nagano? What about the whole thing with Kunitake Ando? And that's great. That's a great example, basically speaking. But when you get more into even, Nagano University, not Nagoya, right? I found some other things here that were, I guess you could say, worth pointing out. And I'm going to share this with you as well. So, hold on a second. Let me load that up real quick. Yeah, let me see here. It has just kind of like a lot of information, to say the least, when it comes to all this. So for one, there's I guess you could say like a Wikipedia page. I mean, you could nerd it out if you choose to do so. But I'll show you this real quick. We did a deep dive in regards to this, I don't know, maybe 8 months ago. Here's the whole thing in the University of Nagano. Chairman, okay, is Kunitake Ando. All right. So again, even mentioning this right now, it sounds kind of confusing. You have Nagoya, you have Nagano. But again, Kunitake Ando, plain as day, chairman, okay? What about the history of Nagano in the prefecture? Well, it dates way, way back. They've been around for a long time. But they've had all these transitions. They have campuses, apparently all over the place. They have a global center. I want you to think about this. Includes the organization of the study abroad, as well as providing materials and support academic trading opportunities, even in foreign language study. What's this other one? They even allow international students to come in, right? Getting more into this. Give me just a second. I want to pull this up as well. Remember how we talked about social innovation? Yes. Okay, this is the part I wanted to give you guys some of that key highlights. So at the very beginning of the outline, we were talking about Clarity AI and what they bring to the table when it comes to this. Again, let me pull this back up. That one mission to bring societal impact to markets. And again, just in case you missed it, you just tuned in, to create forced pause in which decisions can be made with data-driven, unbiased information, thereby increasing users' confidence that their decisions have the intended impact. Again, data democratization all the way. I mean, it doesn't even need to say it for me to gather that, right? They have transparency. They even have, some of these key players here in the United States even, right? And that, of course, is a big deal. It's worth paying attention. And that's, of course, why I'm bringing it to you guys. But I want to jump back, of course, to University of Nagano, because we were talking about Kunitake Ando. And again, back to the whole social impact of things. So The University of Nagano, whose chairman is Kunitake Ando, has the Center of Social Innovation Initiatives. And this should be your plug, your connect. I don't always say that. So they aim to connect academia. Again, think about this, guys. What we've been talking about, like even last week, Giga School concept, right? So the educational side of it, boom, you have that. If you have Kunitake Ando, who's literally the chairman, the head chairman, if you will, of this particular university, you understand how big that is, okay? On top of it, industry, government, and the community, also located at GOSHO, the CSI, as in Center of Social Innovation Initiatives, listen to this, focuses on developing solutions, products, and services. Think about this for a second, guys. Are we not looking at the bigger picture here? Developing solutions. A solution is a personal data locker, for instance, is a solution to also not just benefiting us, but benefiting by protecting people's data. What about the whole thing of solutions for the local economy? Well, being able to quickly scan through your vein, not just your fingerprint and stuff like that, and get you boarded on a bullet train and go on a bus, go about your day, you name it, right? A constant flowing, innovative way of just getting on with a life in general compared to the old model. Look at this. Services for contemporary social problems. Again, are we not tying this in to what was presented from creative, right? And again, what is creative? Or I said creative, excuse me. Clarity AI. Again, Clarity AI and what they bring to the table, and then understand that Vanguard connection. So do we not see how this all comes in full circle? I think we do. Getting more into this, talks about, the products. So I'm thinking like IoT all the way. Services for contemporary social problems. Again, Society 5.0. Everything that Jasmy has outlined from the beginning of when they went public in 2021. Okay. All of this referencing even what, rest in peace to former Prime Minister Abe. Okay. Talking about the declining birth rate, aging population, environmental pressures from a business perspective. There's a lot of environmental pressures. Why we always reference the whole thing of the Rice Cup Consortium. Sounds like a joke because I joke about it, but it's not a joke. From February 2019, the university that Kunitake Ando heads up here signed a comprehensive cooperation agreement with the Nagano Prefecture government. Remember earlier we talked about prefecture? I mean, do you catch some of this stuff that I'm talking about? Prefecture government and Nihon Unisys on social innovation to solve regional issues. Now, here's your boil it, mash it, stick it in stew. I want you to think really, really, really outside the box. Because when I even pull this up, when it comes to all this, once again, let's just remind you, because we're going to do a little quick review real quick. You have this literally cited from where? NASCOM community. And again, about this whole strategy. And like it says, social impact, that's the bottom line. And it gets so into this that it's just beyond, I don't know, maybe it's hard for people to comprehend this. So for one, like she says, in conclusion, ESG data, this should be your takeaway. Analytics strategy involves a company's sustainability compliance inspection across the environmental, social, again, that university, Kunitake Ando, don't forget, and governance pillars. Its applications have guided investors and business leaders in responsible decision making. Tie that into Vanguard. Tie this into the Web3. Tie it into all of the bigger picture. Then this last part. Therefore, impact investors and modern businesses do what? Leverage, because we've been talking about a lot of leveraging when it comes to, even BlackRock and so on. Leveraging ESG benchmarking, they want to realize that sustainable development goals, which are SDGs, for a cleaner, happier, and more secure future. You ever wonder why Jasmy has this thing of, what's it called? Happiness and, the whole thing, excuse me, I'm kind of losing it real quick. You have platinum data with harmony. You ever notice how they call it? Or with happiness, excuse me. Platinum data with happiness. Think about it. All this stuff that is literally mentioned here even matches up to that. Look at the tags here. ESG data analytics, ESG analytics, ESG and data analytics. And last but not least, who is the lady that wrote this? Her name is Tanya Gupta. Who is she? She's a Google certified digital marketing strategist with 6+ years experience in digital marketing. She started her career as a search engine, I know what the SEOs are, search engine optimization executive, that's what it means, and slowly moved into mainstream digital marketing. So she obviously knows a little something. How about this? She also worked with IoT or information, sorry, not IoT. She's into IT and is in the services industry. So, I mean, if anything, she's just not some random weird person. Again, guys, I'm just telling you flat out, I think there's really something here when you understand the bigger picture and you tie all this into to the mix, if you will. That is basically, let me just double check a couple things. Yeah, that is it in regards to our coverage tonight for Jasmy. I know I said it was going to get an hour or two long. It was a little bit longer than expected, but I want to thank Men on Logwire for bringing some of this to our attention. There's another thing we're working on as well in regards to the research, but I'm looking at it from the bigger perspective. I like the idea of seeing the institutional players, what they're invested into. I like to basically connect the dots of seeing like, wow, Vanguard is really into this whole thing of, ESG data, even BlackRock, for instance. And then you got this whole thing of, the social thing, which is a big deal in regards to Japan. And you see how they invest in that. And then we see the whole thing of Kunitake Ando, who literally heads up a department that focuses on that industry. So, I mean, this whole notion that these guys are oblivious to this or they don't know about this is a crock, absolute crock. They do know about it. This is why they do their own research. And they're not going to just throw a bunch of money into Japan for no reason. And again, if you didn't realize the whole thing of Vanguard being tied into all this, Vanguard, FTSE Japan, UCITS, ETF, I guess originally started 2019. Maybe they got out in 2020. I did see a report about that. But nonetheless, this shows that they have been investing, from my understanding, from at least October of 2021. As we know, Jasmy went public as far as the public offering in 2021. So, it is what it is. I won't stop. I won't stop talking about Jasmy, but that is it for tonight. We have some other things we're going to get into. Please smash that like. Hopefully you enjoy this piece tonight. And thank you to Men on Logwire for helping out big time in regards to the research. So let's jump back into the comments. Let's see how we're doing. I think the last comment was from Brittany. It was. Let me double check the other screen real quick. Let's see how we're doing. We are currently at 48 likes. It's not the biggest attendance tonight, but that's okay. We're going to get back into the comments, and we got next up on the list. It is Mr. Half Dan DeBlack, aka Danilo, aka Yer. Good to see you, Mr. Danilo. Glad to have you. Thank you. You guys having a good time? QNT and Jasmy, no scam. Yeah. Mr. Patrick Collier sent me a message earlier. He's just like, dang it, Max. He's like, you suck or something like that. I keep saying Jasmy, no scam, all the time. Yeah, it's to be expected. I think there's a few of you guys who do it. Not everybody does it, but I'm sure there's a few of you guys. Let's also welcome River. Good to see you, Mr. River. Welcome. Obviously, welcome again to Salamander. Click on your little comment right there. Thank you. Boomer F. Sooner says, happy OU Texas weekend. Oh, that sounds like it's going to be a great rivalry match, right? Made in heaven. All right. Dwayne Diesel says, hello. Good to see you, Dwayne Diesel. I think I welcomed you earlier. And let's see here. Thank you. I do appreciate that. All right. Rick Cogswell says, love his Jasmy to the moon. Absolutely. Corey B. Chase Bank now accepting XRP for payments. We're going to get to some of that XRP here in a bit. Let's also welcome Brian Dowie. Says, Sup Max just finished his first hockey draft. Nice. Very, very cool. Awesome, man. All right. Salmair says Jasmy is awesome. I'm with you, man, on that one. I think there's just, when you look into the bigger picture of things, it's just, again, I don't know if people discount this. I mean, some people, they just want nothing but, I just want partnerships. I want confirmation. If you look more into anything, you can confirm some things on your own, right? That's part of why we call these shows DYOR. Do your own research. With who? You do it with me. I do it with you, right? It's a great little combination. All right, let's see here. Dwayne Diesel, do you think Jasmy will go to 0.0028 big support line? I mean, it could. And, if anything, even though I hit my goals for Jasmy and, let's face it, that would shake out a lot of people. There'd be that much more people that would, I hate to say give up on Jasmy, but who in reality will buy up on that fear or those doubts? Well, not just us, but CZ Binance, right? We've seen that. Remember the recent report earlier this week, 300, or maybe it was last week. I can't remember. Was it a few days ago? I don't know, but real recent. They bought 300 million Jasmy. Okay. I mean, for me, that's like 300, 300 times more than what I have. I mean, some people say, why don't you just buy up like $1 billion or something like that? Well, you got to keep in mind, right? Like how much Jasmy is really out there. Let me just double check real quick. In regards to Jasmy, let's pull this up. I used to have all this memorized, but bear with me. So let's see here. You have close to 98% of the supplies out there. So 97.8%. So there's 50 billion Jasmy. It matches the total supply. Yeah, I mean, maybe they just wanted to wait a little bit more. Maybe they will buy, they bought 300 million. Maybe they buy 700 million if we get to that particular one. You never know. I think that'll be the next time. I'm just going to call it, right? I mean, I've been wrong. I'm not saying I'm not the guy that comes on camera and says I'm right all the time. But my point is that even if I'm wrong, I'm allowed to be wrong. And I'm just going to go with it. Based off what we've seen, you do see Binance buying up some of these tokens. We get to 0.0028, like you mentioned. Why wouldn't they buy more? And how much do they buy more? Do they buy another 300 million? Do they buy 700 million and call it like an even billion? Well, here's the thing. They have obviously more than just an even billion. But they're preparing for things to finally start take off with Binance Japan. You got to keep in mind, like once the trading goes, I guess you could say, goes crazy across the board, that in itself is really going to help Jasmy. I don't care what anybody says, because that is going to be a big deal. The other big thing would be, I don't know if it's going to happen later this year. It was supposed to happen last summer. It didn't happen. The unbanning of the pairings, right? Tether and Circle. I mean, maybe it doesn't sound like a big deal, but pairings make a big deal because it brings in massive volume to these projects. And that's why we always pay attention to this. So I was just double checking what it said on there. I'm going to read a few more comments. Boomer Half Serious says he went to a fight once and a hockey game broke out. That's crazy. Anyway, all right. Let's common sense. I was common sense years before the other guy. Well, I didn't know that, but that's cool. That is very cool. I didn't realize that. So you're like, dang it, can we just state this? You guys seen Office Space? Remember one of the characters uses this like, yeah, well, my name was Michael Bolton years before that no talent clown became popular, right? That's what that statement reminded me of. I love that movie, Office Space. Anyway, the TV show The Office is cool too, but Office Space, the movie was great. It was classic. I used to work at a place that was literally like Office Space, Best Western, right? Work in a cubicle, and yeah, that's basically in a tech. All right. Gonna read a few more comments. Let's see here. Let's welcome Mr. Cool Cat Crypto. Remember how you used to do that voice a long time ago, Cool Cat? I don't know. Maybe you don't like that voice. Believe it or not. Oh, yeah. You want to know something? Speaking of last year with the whole Cool Cat Crypto, we will have to do a Halloween special again. I had to come up with something creative in that regard. I won't wear the same thing of what was it? The guy from Rug Pull Inu. I forgot what his name was. Mischievous the Devious. Yeah, a dev from Rug Pull Inu. I'm not gonna do that, but I'll figure something out anyway. All right, let's see here. You guys are talking about Crypto Hulk again, huh? What is this one? Brian, I think Hulk used a long brush. He wasn't making too much noise. Wow, that's a bold statement, huh? Anyway, Magic Power. Hello, guten Tag, Sie Liechtenstein Exchange. So Jasmy with the Race Crop Consortium in the house. Glad to have you. All right, let's see here. Going further down. All right. Corey Bibe, does anyone hold Immutable X? Who was telling me about Immutable X? Literally earlier today. I think it was Wadi. And by the way, give Wadi a follow. Help support Wadi, right? I talked to him on the phone earlier, trying to cheer him up and so on. That he was the one talking about Immutable X. I don't hold it. And the IMX gaming token. I don't hold those. I didn't even see the super chat coming. It was at 6:38. My bad, Robert Brewer. Sorry about that, man. God bless you too. I am so sorry. I must have been into the whole Jasmy spill and didn't see it, but sorry about it. I even double checked the other screen, so didn't come across. Wow. Oh, there's another one that came in. Oh boy, thank you guys. That's awesome. So let's see here. Robert Brewer, bless you, Max. Thank you so much. Appreciate the support, Robert. Sorry being late to your super chat, but when I get into the whole, I guess you could say the main outline, I guess those things are going to happen, and hopefully you understand. All right, so we are starting to kind of lose a few people. We'll read a few more comments, though. Will Fix, he says he's dropping tokens off in the liquidity pool. Oh, man. Oh, jeez. Brian, who's the next comment? Brian, we had a joke on the phone about your reference to the whole thing on Mudbutt, man. And, to whoever's watching, the guy that was complaining about me not wasting 20 minutes of his time, he says, he's like, basically tell me to shut the F up and just get right to the point. I wasted 20 minutes of time. Can you imagine somebody saying that? How rude, for one. Tough luck, pal. Just like a channel, a TV channel. You don't like the content, you can just switch the channel. You know what I mean? But anyway, so yeah, I'm going to read people's comments. And if you don't like it, that's just your problem. Anyway, it is what it is. But, I guess maybe people don't want me talking about our jokes and mud buttons and so on. Anyway, so I made a joke with Will Fix. I was just like, instead of saying mud butt, maybe we should say that we're going to go drop some tokens off in the liquidity pool. And now he's running with it. Anyway, God. That's hilarious. Anyway, I'm glad that we have some exclusive sayings here. Thanks, Common Sense. Appreciate that, man. I think we have a super chat that came in from you. We're gonna get into that. Thank you. Do appreciate that. It looks like Will Fix did finish dropping off his tokens in the liquidity pool. Oh, jeez. I said dumping off your tokens, I think is the one. That even sounds more worse. But anyway. Simon Greco, big thanks for the deep dives, Max. Yeah, you're welcome. Sometimes I try to have all the outline, like just boom, 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 all left to right. But when I have to jump back to my notes and then somebody sends me like some DMs, it's supposed to lock in on the screen. But I think there's a bug on Crypto X or whatever you call it, where it shifts up my screen and then you lose it'll be like this, right? And nothing against presidential speeches, okay? I don't want to get into politics, but can you imagine, like, the president, it don't matter if it's Biden or whoever, right? If, like, all of a sudden their note got moved up like 2 pages up, and then it'd be like, oh my God, I'm like a deer in a headlight. You know what I mean? It'd be like, it was kind of like a little bit of that. So I was like, Nagano University, and I'm like, Nagoya, and then I was saying, Kunitaki Ando with, Nagoya, and it's like, no, Kunitaki Ando with Nagano. You get what I'm saying? It's just too much Ando, Goya. Yeah, it's just too much of the same sounding thing. Anyway, all right, enough about that. Let's talk about some XRP here. Michael Montclair says Vanguard is a big major hub for XRP. There you go. Vanguard knows what to get into. Absolutely. All right. let me get into Common Sense Todd's super chat. Excuse me. Let me just double check the other screen. And it is, let me see here. It's definitely not that one, but we might be able to get into that a little bit later. I thought it was a comment of Jasmy scam. All right. You know, I was going to say it at least once. Got to do it that way, right? All right. Treasuries pay way more. All right. Let's see here. Hey, Kat. Welcome back. Glad to see that you took the jump over to the new channel. Appreciate it. All right. Let's see here. Tell Eva you'll call her back, Max. Oh, man. I wish. Don't we all wish? April Cornwell says, hey, Max and friends. Good to see you, April. I'm just trying to get down to an order just in case there was any other ones I might have missed. I feel bad about that when it happens. Let's see here. Trying to find it. This is a good comment. Welcome to Jack. Good evening, my rich crypto rich. Oh, okay. Well, welcome. I thought you were making a reference to Rich Common Sense Crypto. Cody Core, welcome to the channel. I don't think I've seen you here at the new channel, but welcome. Glad to have you here, Mr. Cody Core. Glad you took the jump. And here it is. Jack Thompson, even to you, Max, on the tag. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, Common Sense. So I want to state this. On the original channel, it was Cody Core and Common Sense, basically. And then it just grew from there. So you guys rock. Welcome back. All right. Common Sense with $20 super chat. It says incredible insight, Max. Thanks so much, man. Thank you so much, period. Being here and the support, it's pretty awesome. And yes, we'll give you credit. If that really is true, I'm not saying if, maybe it is true. I don't know. That's interesting. About the whole, you're the original before Rich. Hopefully you tune into Rich. All right. We're just going to see what bookmark we'll have real quick. What is this? Does the group want me to put a photo to my name? It's up to you. I mean, I think we all know who Jack Thompson is, but if you want to do that, that'd be cool. How about this, Jack? This would be hilarious. I don't know if you can find this. Do a Google search real quick. And basically look up angry Japanese man. Let me see if I can find this real quick. Angry Japanese man yelling scam. Let's see if there's such a thing. This would be hilarious if there was. How about this? I just Googled this, and yeah, you got to pick one of these. All right. One of these will be your profile. All right, let's blow this up a little more. So you want to go with the guy in the bottom right corner, second to the far right, or guy on top left, and then you could add your own little thing. You could put Jasmy scam, or something. I don't know. It's up to you. It'd be kind of funny, or just put Jasmy not a scam. Anyway, it's up to you. Cool stuff. Just a suggestion. You don't have to do it. Hulk must smoke 3 to 4 packs of Reds a day. Maybe. I don't know. He needs to quit, man. He needs to experience that generational wealth, right? Stop sticking up for freaking Hulk. I don't know. It just kind of comes naturally, doesn't it? It does. All right. Andrew Gonzalez, you and Wade bring the best info on cryptocurrency, brother. Keep up the great work. The future is here. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Shout out to Wade. For a second, I thought you were talking about Dwayne Wade because, I'm into basketball. All right. You like that, Cool Cat? I think you like that. Yeah, you like that. Anyway. Wouldn't that be cool? Come on. Guys, let's just have a fun moment, okay? Ahmed is probably not here tonight. And if he is, sorry, Ahmed, if I skipped over your comment, right? So, in my opinion, Ahmed still takes the cake when it comes to the most hilarious avatar, what do you want to call it, in crypto, right? We want a cookie. I voted, right? You should vote, period. You don't need to have the stupid button. And I'm telling you this time, all right? Maybe you guys want to hop on the bandwagon. Maybe you don't. And if you're against this, is a different opinion, that's fine too. But my thing is this, and this does reference an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm when everybody goes to vote. They hand me that thing and insist I put the freaking button on that I voted. Like I need to show the world I voted. I know I voted. And if anything, people should just be out voting, period. You know what I mean? But anyway, I don't need that. So his avatar is always the guy that reminds me of, like, oh, we want a cookie. All right, so there's that. I'm telling you, we have Ahmed with that avatar, and then we combine it with Jack Thompson of, this, and we'll just show it one more time. All right, just in case you're tuning in. I mean, come on. Which one does he go with? I mean, there's some hilarious ones here. But I think maybe this guy, bottom right, second to the bottom right is pretty hilarious. And maybe the one on top left is pretty funny. And just, write something like, quotation marks, Jasmy scam, and then just put LOL or Jasmy not a scam. I don't know. You know what we're talking about. Anyway, enough about that. Yeah. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're finally going to get into the Ripple XRP segment. Hold on, one more. Mr. Miyagi. That's funny. They give you cookies, Max. I'm getting ripped off. Yeah. They don't really give me, it's just a saying, like, do you want a cookie? Anyway, you get where I'm going. All right, yeah, let's jump into Ripple. We got quite a bit to get into in regards to Ripple. We got some from Le Grand Commission. Oui, merci beaucoup. And then we got some other ones, right? So let's see what we got. This first comes from Le Grand Commission. Oui, merci beaucoup. Le Grand is under the weather, my friends. Let's pray for Le Grand. Keeping your thoughts and prayers. He's under the weather. He's not feeling too good. He might be watching, I would agree. Wax on, wax off. And little known fact, Will Fix, if you're still here, can we share this with everybody? So back in the days of Medal of Honor Allied Assault Honor Game Service real quick. And I know the guy who doesn't want me to talk about this stuff, tough luck, pal. Okay? If you don't like it, turn the station. To be honest, I'm talking with our community right here. I don't owe you an apology. And that basically is this, okay? Will Fix had this thing, right, at the time because there was too many kiddies coming around cussing up a storm and whatnot. And we just thought, let them cuss up a storm. We have this swear filter, and we did hilarious things. So the funny thing was, if anybody typed in WTF on a screen instead of saying WTF, it said wax on, wax off. Isn't that true, Will Fix? Isn't that true? Remember that? Wax on, wax off. Anyway, all right. Back to Le Grand Commission. Get well soon, my friend. Let's talk about Ripple's XRP, and if anything, I need to take off that Jasmy thing and put on Ripple. Boom, there you go. So here it is, straight from Le Grand, and it's worth paying attention to, right? So, breaking news, he tags me, and he also mentions, Ben Armstrong as well, and it says, are you bullish yet? And it states in the tag, BTC, XRP, you name it, right? So BlackRock, all right, let's talk about this for a second. They have this insider primes, and it says crypto for huge 17.7 trillion Wall Street earthquake that could be about to hit the price of Bitcoin, Ethereum. And look what it mentions from Forbes, once again, XRP. Forbes didn't have to mention XRP. We know that they didn't have to mention XRP. They didn't have to mention them all. No. And then we know that thing that, Crypto Hulk was talking about, that talks about that, there was an article that was pulled at, was it 58,000 XRP? So what is Forbes hinting at again, right? Is this a nothing burger? I don't think so. And if anything, maybe Mr. Elon Musk, Mike Cornwell, if he's not too busy later on, or I can look it up myself. Is Satoshi tweeting again? Is he tweeting again? That's interesting, right? So I want to jump back into a little bit more about this. I think this is big. We're obviously talking about BlackRock quite a bit. But, on this particular piece, I want to give a shout out to a very good friend of mine. Love this guy. He's been back in my life for first time in, I think, about 15 years. And it is shout out to Will Fix. Last night, I saw his video, and it basically was crazy. I know, guys, just bear with me. You may be on board with this, maybe you're not. Will Fix is not the type of guy to get offended about it or anything like that. He's got thick skin, right? So in his title, it talks about boom XRP like 25,000. I think in his outline, he talks about like maybe 10,000. I know some of you guys are like, there's no way that can happen. You know, the most could be maybe it's $10, or even at some of these crazy price levels, this puts it up into crazy market cap. Hey, I get it, right? Not everybody's on board in regards to that. We can have a back and forth conversation about this. But what I love is his perspective. Listen to his theory on it. He has a way of explaining things. But anyway, my point is this: he's part of a community. Last night, the video it had like 25 views. And I thought, you know, after I watched the video, it's like, man, this guy's a natural, an absolute natural. So here at Maximus Crypto, we are all about community. Let's recognize a new member of our community, a personal friend of mine who's come back into my life, and I think it's awesome and incredible. Shout out to the one and only Will Fix. I want you guys to see this. And if anything, for the first time of him coming out with a video, this man was literally at Wrigley Field. He went Babe Ruth style, my friend. He brought up, you know, he didn't have the Max Scratcher, right? He didn't have the Max Scratcher, but you got that baseball bat, and he lined that sucker up to center field, and he told that pitcher where he was going to park this sucker. Because you want to know something? He hit it out of the park, grand slam, unbelievable. And if anything, I want to show you guys this. This is like it's kind of hilarious. So first, I'm going to show you the thumbnail because we are talking about XRP. And look at this for a second. So this is hilarious. I'm gonna come out of the frame. He didn't even make a thumbnail, right? So that's Will Fix right there for one. YouTube made that generic thumbnail for him, and if anything, it's better than any thumbnail he could have made, you know? All right, so if anything, let's check this out. This, for his first one, in my opinion, went viral. I was talking on the phone earlier about how he had over 5,000 views already. Now he's up to 7.3K, and I'll show you how many likes and all that stuff he's got here. Hold on a second. Let's pull this up. This is unbelievable. Yeah, 692 likes. I would kill for this. I don't have any videos that do this, at least on this new channel. Hopefully, eventually it will. 692 likes, 12 unlikes, because I got the plugin that tells you unlikes. 212 comments. Most of it is people like it. Some people probably going to be like, Cool Cat Crypto. You're like, bro, you're out of your mind or whatever, but that's okay. I mean, there's some of you guys are, not on par. Hey, we're not a bunch of yes men, right? But the key thing that I saw here is that people like his perspective, and they're looking forward to him bringing more content to here. So I'm just going to go ahead and announce this right now. We're going to let the cat out of the bag. And this is something that Will Fix decided to do. And I did not tell him to do this. This was amazing. So, like this guy, Drew 370, this makes sense, so on and so forth. There's this other guy, and he responds to them with, look at this response. Look at this great analysis from the lens of thought, right? And then Will Fix responds to everybody with, hey, check out my favorite content creator, this channel, obviously me, you guys, and so on, part of this network, or this channel. You guys stop calling it network, anyway, I just don't want to use that terminology. But the key thing is he just constantly just lets everybody know about this. I didn't ask him to do this. Will Fix, you rock. You want to know that? You freaking rock. He doesn't ask for anything. A friend, I want to say it now, a colleague. So here's where I'm going with this. Before we play this, and this is really cool. Will Fix has become an overnight sensation, right? His video went viral. You'll see why here in a bit. It's being shared all over crypto Twitter, which is really cool. I mean, I shared it last night. I was a small contribution. All right, I think for the most part, people found out on this on his own. So I want to state this: he's going to be continuing to make more videos because he loves to talk about this stuff. And also, for the record, he didn't look me up to see how I, as a Mr. Stanley, is doing. He naturally found out about this channel because he was into XDC, XRP, and some all this other stuff. He found this channel, and then when he recognized who I was and so on, he was like, oh my God, that's Max from we haven't talked for 15 years. You guys know how I believe and so on, right? I believe that sometimes, God opens up it closes the doors in your life and reopens them. Or you're like a person, you go through a jungle and the paths intertwine again, and you get right back on that path. For me and Will Fix, we're on that path again. You know, God has brought Will Fix back into my life, and I'm so incredibly blessed for it. Just like I'm blessed for all the bad things that happened with the old channel, and we're back here at this new one. It's a blessing in disguise. You know, count your blessings, count them one by one, count your many blessings, see what God has done. And if anything, check out what Will Fix has to share here in regards to boom, XRP, $25,000 overnight. Listens to his reasons why overnight. Tell your thoughts, whether you agree with him or not. I know some people do, some people don't. But in his description, this is also pretty cool. He talks about the reasons that he believes XRP will move overnight. And like he also mentions, he talks about up to 5 or even 10 with retail investment, but he doesn't believe that, this will just sneak up to 10,000 or 25,000 per coin. This video gives you the reasons. So enough about it. Let's just hear from him. I just want to give you a little background and explanation. Please smash that like, especially for Will Fix. A lot of you guys have already seen this, but the main thing is you'll be engaged when you hear this. Shout out to Will Fix. Here we go.
Hey, everybody. My name's Will Fix. And yeah, exactly how it sounds. Like if something's broke, you will fix. Yeah, my parents never smoked marijuana. Anyway, I wanted to share some ideas with you on why I believe XRP will have a massive price change overnight, literally overnight. And not to say that the retail market won't be able to take it up to, I don't know, maybe $4 or $5. Because we have seen, was it up to $3 trillion that we've seen in the crypto space? So that's just us crypto freaks, right? Buying and selling. That's what a bull market would do. And that's with whales and whatever, institutions maybe as well, but not like what XRP has set up. So I'm just going to present this really just to give you my ideas and to fish out what might be wrong with my ideas or what I forgot, what I didn't include. So this is just an opinion. I put in the description price of 25,000. I don't know if it's going to be 1,000, 5,000, 25,000, 58,000, like the Forbes article that got canceled or pulled off the net. But nevertheless, of the amount, I believe it'll be all at once. And here's why. I had an insurance agency for many years, and so very acquainted with sitting down with people and selling things, overcoming objections. And if any of you guys are selling, overcoming objections is part of the sales process. Why this is such a great idea. Well, if I'm working for Ripple, XRP, and if I say one or the other through this, just understand I mean both, but I'll probably be saying XRP. So from what I understand, Ripple XRP has over 300 deals with institutions. That's probably enough for me to guess we're over the hump. Here's what I mean by that. If I'm set up to overcome objections and I'm going to a large institution that moves tons of money, there's going to be a few objections I'm going to anticipate. One is going to be the consideration of the price of XRP being at 50 cents, 55 cents, 35 cents, whatever it was when I went in. And the question of, well, you only got a 50 some odd billion market cap and 28.5 billion or whatever it is of coin. We move 50 billion at a time. You don't even have enough coin for me to even talk to. So then what's my response to that going to be? Well, it's not going to stay at that price, because we're talking to you and many other people and y'all are going to put a bunch of money in. Oh, okay. Well, now let's say today I'm doing it and I'm getting ready to go in and talk to somebody, and I've already got 300 some odd deals. it's not going to be a very difficult sale if it's all my partners. If you're speaking to me and I'm the bank and you got all my partners, that's what I mean by over the curve. It's just sign up time. This is what's happening, in my opinion, with XRP. It's just sign up time now. Just go and get them all signed up. So, and I believe that's why we are waiting until you are able to satisfy most or all of my needs. I don't know that I would desire to run both systems at the same time. I might want to switch all at once. I might want to run both at the same time and test it. Okay, but here's another thing that's going to come up. So price is going to be a thing. Well, the next thing is, oh, you already got all of my buddies. I'm the last one, and y'all are doing business with everybody I'm doing business with. So I'm going to buy the coin right now. Well, I imagine the person working for XRP would say, oh, no, don't do that yet. See, we don't want you to do that yet, because then the next guy has to pay a higher price, because after you buy, the price is going to move up. And then after he buys, and then we're going to have really a complete uncontrolled race where some of the people are going to be spending huge prices. So, and I believe initially XRP said it's going to have to be a $10,000 coin. So if that is in my toolbox to use, and I know we've also heard 25,000 to 37,500, and we've heard 50,000, and Forbes magazine said 58,000, and then tons of YouTubers and content makers have said all types of figures from there on out. So I'm going to use the $10,000 figure amount. I know I put in here 25,000 on the thing, but anyway, so I say, no. We don't want to drive it up past $10,000, because then these other partners are going to have to spend way more than you, right? Now, what's my thoughts there? Well, I don't want one guy to get the giant advantage and make tons of money, and then some of my other partners, they didn't even get in on it, didn't make any. Maybe even they bought it the wrong time and lost money, right? So I would want to move into this situation to be able to overcome objections. And also I would want to be able to put some fairness in the purchase of XRP. So maybe I have some in escrow I can pull out. Maybe that's how they do it. Maybe that's how they plan to do it. Maybe it's just all of the coin that's out there, or whatever's left, they are going to offer to institutions. But I do believe that I believe it's going to be, well, wait. We are evaluating. I'm collecting your numbers. We're evaluating how many coin each person will need. And we're going to give you a deal to buy those at whatever the current rate is. What if this is see the logic behind this idea? So what we are first going to do is evaluate all of the money that's going to be moved. We're going to crunch the numbers and see how much that's going to be daily. It's going to have to be a positive flow. We're going to have more than enough so we don't get a crunch in case of some giant move. We don't want the system to be bogged down where there's not enough coin, because can't you agree right now there's less than $30 billion could be moved, because that's all of the coin all together. So it's going to have to be more than that. It can't be 50 cents. So I propose that this is possible. So once we have those numbers, we'll know based on your average volume how many coin you will need based on the new price that it's going to be once we flip the switch. Okay, so that's going to have to be thought about. Don't you believe? Wouldn't you think an institution would be concerned and want to know? Wouldn't you also believe that an institution would say, if it wasn't managed in the way that I'm talking about, where there's a specific date and a given number that I need to purchase at the current rate, how can they even know how much to purchase? Because they don't even know what the rate is. So it becomes a willy-nilly. And then your first guy, institution, that jumps in and buys at 50 cents, drives it up to 60, then your next guy, then your next guy. Well, then your last guy buys it at $11,000 a coin, and then it drops down to $9,000 a coin. I don't know that they'll like that. So I think when I'm doing a sales presentation, I'm overcoming objections. I want to overcome those objections in some form or fashion. So I believe that scenario would be like I'm saying. It would be that I would be able to tell them, when we come back to you, because they say, well, here's all of our partners. They'll have to have it too. I can't just have it. They all have to have it. They got to be able to receive. And then I receive from them. They got to be able to send to me. So, oh, okay, well, give me that list of your people, that you do business with. Now I got a new list. Hey, I got to go see all these people. Or I start checking it off. Well, we've already done them. Now these. That's why I see we're past. I think we're over the hump. Now I got less to do business with than I've already done. Now it's just a sign up. So I think they're just running around. It's basically just getting it signed up. It's also working on how to upload and offload, the system of actually uploading, offloading the money, creating the accounts. They're all going to have XRP accounts somewhere. So I believe that's going on. And I think they're determining when they get enough in what the calculation will be, and it will be by proportion. This bank moves this much, this bank moves that much, this bank moves that much. We put all of this together. We estimate what the time of that money will be in the system. Maybe it's a minute. It's not going to be 3 seconds unless, everybody just does instantaneous, some kind of cash out. But even if it's 3 seconds, whatever it is, there's going to be so many big transactions all at once. There's going to have to be X amount of coin so you don't run out of coin. So the coin's going to have to be big enough to handle that. And there's going to have to be more coin than needed. So they're going to want to probably dedicate a certain amount of coin for that particular job. And it's going to drive the price of all of the coin up because us retail hold some too. So that's what I believe. And that's why I think the term flip of the switch is there. That's why I believe all at once we will have a price increase, because I don't see how I could set up a deal with an institution without talking to them about the price and why haven't they gone ahead and purchased. I don't think it's just the court rulings, the SEC and all of that. We've pretty much settled that, and we still got a court date. But basically all that's left over is if there's going to be fines or not if they're going to exist or not. So whether there's fines or not, that, in my opinion, doesn't even matter to institutions. So I think the retail market's decided, it's just because of the uncertainty. It's not the uncertainty, in my opinion. Why? Because the IMF and the BIS has already decided by 2025, which means in 2024, that everybody's going to have to be compliant. Well, doesn't that also mean ready to go? If you're ISO compliant, it's the coin that makes that so. So you already have to be plugged in and having the ability to do. So you're compliant, but what? You think it's just going to be we're compliant, but we don't have to use it? I mean, to be compliant means you have the ability to use it. So that's my argument, that if I'm Ripple or XRP and I have to present this to a company, again, I would have to overcome objections. And my number one objection would be XRP price. And then my first thing would be, you already got all these people. I better buy it now. I want to make some money. So you see my point. So I believe they're being held off, and I don't think it has anything to do with the SEC. I think it has to do with the date that they're going to pull the trigger, which might be a floating date. It might be when they get all the deals signed and they get, basically. So there's the bank, and who's transferring the money? You got to have that system where you can type in your figures and send and receive. So that has to be that, I don't know how easy that's going to be or if it's already done. I'm just saying those mechanics have to be done. And so that leads me to believe that one day, though retail may drive it up to, I don't know, $4 or $5, just with a few trillion coming in, but this massive money that's going to come in due to all of the different factors that we could talk about, the tokenization and all of the different things that are going to come into the crypto world. I think that could drive it up, maybe to $10 or something, but the thousands of dollars probably will be institutional money. And I think it will be all at once. Now, tell me what your comments are on that. I probably left something out because I really don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about from a salesman's position. I would want answers there. There must be answers there because, I can't just go, I don't know what the price is going to be. I don't know how many you're going to have to get. Just do what you can. All right. So give me your comments. Tell me your thoughts. I'd love to hear you shoot it down or build it up. But that's my opinion. I just want to share it with you. Have a good day.
Bravo to Will Fix. My goodness, man. I mean, talking about you're an absolute natural. That was his first time ever talking on video about cryptocurrency. And he talking about Ripple's XRP. Wow. Unbelievable. And that video is still trending. And I wouldn't be surprised if it hit 10 at this rate. I'm going to call it 10,000 by the end of the night. 10,000 views. First video knocked it out of the park. I mean, I never was able to do that on my first video. So, man, Will, good job. Whether you agree with him or not, it's all about perspective and sharing a different point of view, right? And he has a way in which, he keeps you engaged. He looks at the camera. He's enthusiastic. You're natural. Knocked it out of the park. The Babe Ruth of crypto. No, I don't know about that. But anyway, pretty cool stuff. Let's get into some more comments. I saw that Tia, a.k.a. T-Lens, is here. Welcome. I know that you rewound to the part of Will Fix, so maybe she'll hear me welcome her later. But glad to have her. And then also, we saw in the comments that she got a promotion at her job. That is so cool. It's nice to be blessed, right? To say the least. So, yes, congratulations to her. And you know what that means, guys? Stacking more of that life-changing generational wealth. Ripple's XRP, Stellar, you name it. Maybe she gets some more. I don't know if she's into Jasmy, but whatever the case be, stacking more of what you believe in. That's the bottom line, right? Absolutely. So we got some more Ripple's XRP for you guys. I'm going to kick it back into the comments for a brief moment because, that was about roughly a 15-minute long video. But, yeah, we had to play the whole thing. We're not just going to play 5 minutes of that. All right, so let's see here. Jack Thompson says Pandora's box is now open. Let's see here. We also have Save Legrand Bueller. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. Get it? That's funny. All right, let's see here. Max, smash, rude people. Yeah, I'm done smashing. I almost got killed half my lifetime ago for trying to, go after somebody and so on. It changes your perspective, to say the least. So, but anyway, Kat is here. She says, good to be here. Glad you caught the live. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hope the channel is going well. It is. It actually is really going well. Sorry, didn't mean to cough on the mic. But yeah, doing well. And, I meant to chop up some videos and have a chance to do it. So there's some good coverage that we have that I don't think is too time sensitive in regards to Stellar. That will be released, XDC as well. Of course, the content from tonight. Elon Musk, Mike Cornwell, thanks for being patient because we're playing that video from Will Fix. He says 17.7 trillion added to ISO and BTC would be nice. Yeah, the kid, no kidding, right? This is where, this fuels the debate for the utility run. I mean, everything we talk about, these Bitcoin spot ETFs. I mean, the institutions literally, putting crypto on their back, if you will, by, to the tokenization of assets and how much, that brings into the overall scheme of things. And, that post from Legrand earlier about the 17.7 trillion. And There's so many examples that it's just mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. I do remember Hulk's most popular video of all time is about the 100,000 XRP. I know, sounds crazy. All right, let's see here. Let's read this from Jack. Hey guys, crypto wealth and exceptional health and shalom to y'all. 3:50 a.m. tomorrow. Oh, geez, you got to get going. Yeah, okay. I understand. Jack, you have a great night. You've got to get going. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you for your ongoing, continuous support. And whether it's coffee or whatever it is, looking forward to it in the future. All right. Saw that, Mr. Muff. Nice article. Most XRP is already spoken for. Shh. All right. You said F that. I say XRP is hitting 1 million. That'd be unbelievable. That would be cool. 17 trillion put into XRP runs it to up around 320 bucks. Even at 320 bucks, wouldn't it be too shabby? All right. And there's the article if you guys want. I'm glad that Corey Bebe shared that. You want to know something? I just want to state this real quick before we get more into our XRP coverage. This is kind of good and it's kind of bad. But Corey, I'm just going to be honest with you. Every time I see your name, I actually, like the photographic memory now, reference what we just recommended to Jack Thompson in regards to picking out an avatar of a random Japanese guy who's angry, yelling out, "Jasmy scam!" So when I see you, instead of thinking Corey Bebe, this is literally what is replaying in my head. And please don't take it the wrong way, but it's kind of hilarious. So when I see your name now, I'm thinking to myself, Corey Bebe, a.k.a. Jasmy scam. I know that sounds bad, but that's the reality of it. Forgive me. All right. Yeah. All right. Going further down, we're going to read a few more comments. You guys got some good ones. Will Fix says, I love you, bro. You right back at you, my friend. Absolutely. Thank you. Love your goatee, by the way. It's just like perfectly uniformed and trimmed up. I am going to visit the barber soon, and I got to take care of this problem I have. So anyway, let's see here. Everybody's showing support for Will Fix. Appreciate that. Oh, yeah, your homework. Your unofficial homework, right? More like your extra credit at this point. But thank you for that. Always miss teaching, but you know what? Some people told me, you know what? Hey, Max, don't cut yourself short just because you didn't sign up for the calendar of the year this year. You got to keep in mind, people still think you're teaching, you know, us and so on. Hey, we're teaching each other, right? But I do miss the kiddos, and I hope that they're doing well. Those fifth and sixth graders are now, you know, obviously 6th and 7th graders. So, yeah, you know, and this time of the year, they're also, they are now entering into the next season of basketball. So I hope they're doing well. I have to catch up on them. All right, let's see here. 58K isn't bad, especially for XRP. Absolutely. We have a few more people connected. We are going to get into a little bit more Ripple XRP for you here in a bit. The next segment that we have is from Lewis Jackson, talking about cross-border payments, but a little bit different from what you normally have heard. All right. Let's just read a few more comments. And again, once again, congratulations. Where is it real quick? To Tia in regards to her promotion. There it is. That's so awesome. Yeah. So congrats again to her. Always love hearing members of our community, you know, being blessed and getting promotions and you name it. So that's awesome. Be able to stack more. I feel like I'm too late to the party for XRP. Nah, not really. I mean, you know, do I wish I could have bought, you know, everything that I originally, you know, knew about in regards to XRP at 32 cents? Yeah. There's people. How about all the other guys at DCA, you know, from their original entry point? How about Samo Flood? I don't know if he's still watching tonight. Samo Flood has been XRP probably longer than most, even LeGrand Commission, you know, but I'm sure they still DCA'd. So never beat yourself up about that. You're never too late. You may be too late at 52, you know, if we do get to 58,000 or 10,000. But that's where FOMO money will come in. That's where I feel as though life-changing money, that's probably too late then. But even at, you know, roughly 50 cents and so on, you know, the 50-cent area, no, you're not too late. It's still a bargain, in my opinion. Not financial advice, but that's the way I look at it. All right, let's see here. The crazy XRP army will love this video. They do. Corey Bebe cleaning up after the dog dropped a yard bomb. Scam. God. You know, Will Fix and I talk about, you know, it would be so nice if you could train your dog to dump its tokens into the liquidity pool, you know. And depending on what you feed your dog, you got to be careful with that. You don't want your dog to provide too much on-demand liquidity to that liquidity pool. I know, that sounds so bad. Sorry if anybody ate tonight, right? Got to have a fun joke. Okay, let's see here. Let's read a few more. You're very welcome, Will. I think you knocked it out of the park, my friend. And let's see here. Let's read this from T. Lens, aka Tia. Opinion request for the chat. Do you buy the dips or buy on a set schedule? I'm going to go with the dips, but of course you're asking for the chat, so it's always good to get their perspective as well. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to just read the last bit of comments because there's not much. Yeah, isn't that horrible? Anyway, Corey Bibe, aka Jasmy Scam. I might as well just say it, but anyway, or not a scam. Anyway, he subbed this morning. That's cool. All right, let's see here. But yeah, that's the announcement I was going to make. Is basically Will is like, you know what? I'm not looking to, you know, make his own crypto channel. I was like, shoot, man, you might as well. But, you know, like you're pretty much becoming a star in the making. I mean, you knocked out of the park on your first one. He was just like, nah, man, I'd rather just, you know, I guess put it over here, which is, God, I mean, thank you. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, pretty incredible. So I just want to state this, you guys, get used to seeing him because, yeah, I mean, not only is he in the comments, but he's excited about doing more videos and stuff like that. It's his idea. And we even said, you know what, man, after you get a few of those videos out, it'd be nice to have you as a, giving perspective, like a two-way conversation on the live. I think that would be another thing that'd be really cool because obviously we haven't had a guest on here yet. But anyway, it is what it is. Patrick Collier says, Will, amazing vid, brother. See, that's even for Patrick Collier, Will. How about that? Very, very cool stuff. And let's also welcome Tia T. Lins is a new member. Thank you so much. Do appreciate you. Let me just double check the other screen real quick. Thank you. You're paying it forward. You know, this is what's about, you know, gets a promotion. And I guess, you know, thanks. I don't know what to say. I'm just going to stop talking about that. Thank you. And congratulations to you. And then Tia, I want to state this. Do you like how we have you guys pop? Right? Look at that right in the comments. Before, you guys are super tiny on the screen. Now we give a little highlight for our community. All right. So let's see here. You're balling. Yep, absolutely. All right, cool stuff. Let's get back into it. So you guys know I've been following Crypto Lulu. All right. He doesn't go by Crypto Lulu anymore. He goes by Lewis Jackson, a little bit more professional. He, of course, went over to the Ripple, celebration party, if you will, in New York. Recently got back from there. He did like he filmed it like a documentary. It was really incredible. And so he, I guess he recently got back to the UK and he came out with this new video. So we're on the topic of Ripple's XRP. You heard Will Fix's perspective. Let's remember the whole concept of what we're talking about here. So I'm going to share this with you guys. This comes from Lewis Jackson, and I think a lot of you guys are following him. If you follow Hulk, why aren't you following Lewis Jackson? If you're following Zach Rector, why aren't you following Lewis Jackson? So I have nothing but respect for Lewis Jackson. He's one of my favorite content creators. He's one of the best when it comes to his, he talks about Stellar and some other ones, obviously. But you want to know something? He also, he does a lot of coverage specifically on Ripple's XRP. So, yeah, give him a follow. You can follow him over at, let me just double check it, at Crypto Lulu. And of course, in the past there was like fake accounts, but now we have these blue check marks. I have one too, and this is the real one. So he says everything you need to know about G20's cross-border payments in October. Well, we're in October. He posts this literally today, guys. Literally today at 11:47 a.m. This is 8.5 minutes. I mean, typically we like to stick to 5-6 minutes. We're gonna play this whole one. I already reviewed it earlier. It's good, solid information from one of the best researchers in this space, aka Lewis Jackson. Please go ahead and share it if you choose to do so. And nonetheless, let's go ahead and play this straight from Crypto Lulu. Here we go.
ISO 20022 updates are coming, and October is a massive month when you look at the G20 roadmap for cross-border payments. So here is everything you need to look out for in October. And I'm going to do things a little bit different in this video. I'm not going to build it up all the way to the end to finally give you the answer. We're just going to get straight into it. The biggest thing that's happening in October is there's going to be a final version of the ISO 20022 harmonization project. And breaking that down very simply, it's the harmonization of all of the messages that lie within ISO 20022 and how to link the old system into the new system. We've been talking about that for a while. What this report will be is the final version of exactly how this will be done from a practical standpoint, not an ideological standpoint, practical, like actually you need to do this, you need to do this, and the whole timeline and everything on this report. It will be the final report on the harmonization of ISO 20022. So if you're still struggling on why that's like really cool, outside of this world, this is an extremely boring conversation, but you, the smart ones who know what we're talking about here, you're going to find this exciting when I explain it. So maybe over a year ago, I think I was the first person to discover the messaging names, the names of the messages being sent for payments in ISO 20022. I remember finding the document. I remember downloading all the data, analyzing all the data. I remember talking with B-Rush. B-Rush, I hope you're watching this. I remember the excitement on the phone with you saying, am I really seeing this? Is this the real information? The point was, we were trying to discover which actual payment messages related to the actual value of money being transferred, right? And if ISO was going to be a flip of the switch event, then we needed to make sure that these different banks had these specific messaging names. I'm going to get into those messaging names, but before I do that, I want to explain payments again, just to clarify if there's anyone new here. I like to make things very simple for everyone to understand. Based on the feedback when I was in New York, talking to all the people that watch my videos, they really liked how simply I put things and how unbiased it was. So that's what I'm trying to do, and I'll continue to try to do that here as well. So the way a payment works in the current system is that you have a message that goes before the movement of the money. For example, if you're sending money to Bank B, you are Bank A sends a message to Bank B to say, you should be expecting a payment of $100. Are you ready to receive it? Here's the account number it's going into. Here's the account number it's coming from, all of that information. Then the payment is sent after the message, right? So the payment and the message are actually different things, but some messages indicate the movement of value. This is really important because at some point there's got to be message and then payment, but part of that message has to say, now send the payment, right? And so there are 3 different payment codes or names that we have to look out for, and those are PAIN 001, PAIN 008, and PAIN 009. This is how they kind of break down. So PAIN 1 and PAIN 8 are from the customer moving money to the bank. So if you look for your bank and you dig into the details and you find that your bank is actually now live with PAIN 1 and PAIN 8 payments, that means customers are actively transferring value to that bank using the new ISO 20022 standard. The other one to look out for is PAX 9, that's PAX 009. That is actually from bank to bank. And it's the same thing. If your bank is using PAX 9, you know that they're using an ISO 20022 message to send that value. Now, why ISO is really exciting, this 20022 thing, is because within ISO 20022, I wonder how many times I'll say that today, you actually have the ability to retrieve tokens from a blockchain environment, showing us that there is now a migration, a harmonization of the old system into the new system with a new messaging standard with lots more information in these messages, but also the ability to basically send and buy, sell, send, receive crypto within a banking environment, right? That's why it's really exciting, because we're moving towards this whole new world of blockchain, and this in the code, you can see in the code how it's being prepared. There is another one called PAX 4, but this is for payment returns, and that is usually the bank returning to the customer. So this month, we can obviously expect that final report and exactly how that's going to happen and the specifics of the timeline. So keep your eye out on the CPMI and the PMPG task force documents. Whenever they come out, let me know. I'll obviously be looking for it as well. But that will be ultimately the biggest indicator as to when these things are going to happen and when they're all going to turn on, which is very exciting. There are also 2 different reports coming out that haven't come out yet in October, but they are to watch out for. The first one is a faster payments systems report by CPMI. And this will essentially be a report showing us where we currently stand in the migration from the old system to the new system. If you think about it in terms of a process, you have this report that shows us where we stand right now, moving forward to that harmonization requirement report that's coming out for the G20 with the specifics of the messaging standards. You kind of, one goes before the other, but they both inform each other and they're both part of this whole system. The other report that we're looking for is based on the ISO thing that we've just talked about, but it's more about how the end user, me and you, will actually see the information about cross-border payments. Because with ISO 20022, there's a lot more information that you can have in those payment messages. And therefore, when we receive or send cross-border payments, there will be lots more information for us to be able to see as well. Not that we care that much about it, but we'll be able to see lots more information. Perhaps the exact amount of time it took to send that cross-border payment, right? And that should give us a massive indicator as to which blockchain was used, right? Because if it's, Ethereum or Bitcoin, we'll have a pretty good idea by the duration of time it takes to send that payment. And if it's XRP, we'll know that that's going to be in that sweet spot between 3 to 5 seconds for any of these cross-border payments. So that's going to be a big giveaway on that report. The Financial Stability Board are in charge of that report. And like I said, it hasn't come out yet, but it will be in October. And then finally, we have something called the Cross-Border Payments Summit. This is put on by the Financial Stability Board and CPMI. And what's really exciting about this is that they're actually going to launch a whole new phase of migrating from the old cross-border payment system to the new cross-border payment system. When we look at the G20 framework and the timelines and all of that, that's all been within that kind of first phase, maybe the second phase. But so far, it's all been ideological. Like, we could do cross-border payments like this. We could do things like this. We could make it faster by doing this. No, we're now moving into the new phase, which is the practical application. Like, we are now doing this. We are going to do this. We're going to use this technology, right? These pieces of information are going to come out at this summit, and many other things as well, right? We're going to have more conversations about how public and private need to work together. We're going to have interoperability is going to be a massive talking point here. And that's interoperability of regulation, messaging standards. This payment summit is going to be really important to watch all the interviews to see the little nuggets that are dropped. And if you're not going to do that, I'm going to do that, right? I'm going to watch all those videos and hopefully present some new information that maybe you haven't thought of before in these videos. If you enjoy these types of videos, please let me know. I hope you enjoyed the trip to New York for the Ripple Proper Party. If you haven't seen that already, please click the link in the description or click the I in the top right of this video. It was amazing to meet so many of you, and I'm really happy to call many of you, especially those who we took photos with, and I met my friends, my extended friends. So I appreciate you all watching these videos and supporting this channel so we can do some amazing things like go to New York and go to Dubai and have these conversations with people around the world to deliver even better information right here in the most simple way possible. I appreciate all of you. Stay emotionless, and I'll see you in the next one.
Pretty cool to share that. I understand that, Cool Cat Crypto got banned. Let's just be honest, Cool Cat. You've probably been banned from more than one particular channel. But you haven't been banned here. We've had our agreements and our disagreements in the past. But you know what? Glad to have you here. And that's a funny thing, I guess, that must have happened. Like I said, it must have been a mod, but maybe it wasn't a mod. I don't know. What's this one real quick? Elon Musk declares the US dollar a scam. A scam. We're going to pull up the article. I think it's from Tim Shea in a bit. I saw one of you guys' comments. It was kind of funny. Again, welcome to Grizzly Bear Greg, a.k.a. Glitching in the Matrix. Glad to have you here. But let's see here. Where was that comment? Yeah, Crypto Lulu is going to be like, take a hike, you bloody chopper. Anyway. Yeah, interesting. All right, where is the link? Here it is. Let's pull this up. I'll pull up on the other screen because I can't highlight here and just pull it up. So we are going to take you to that real quick. Let's talk about this for a second. Where did it go? That was kind of weird. Oh, I see what's going on. Hold on a second. I see what's going on. It's loading it up with a bunch of stuff. All right. All right, I got it. This is from Forbes. Hopefully they don't punish me like they did before. All right, let me try to blow this up a little bit more. All right. Let's see what we got. Oh, man, I have to shrink that down just a bit. All right, here we go. Let's pull this up. All right, comes straight from Forbes. So it states, and thank you to Tim Shea for sharing this. Elon Musk declares the US dollar a scam amid fears of 33 trillion US death spiral as the Bitcoin price soars. You know, here's the thing, you guys. Say what you want. We've been talking about a lot of this stuff for a year and a half. We were talking about, obviously, Ripple's XRP. And this, again, I understand, you know, like you guys point out, well, X amount of tokens will equal this price, and look at this market cap. You can't escape that. You know, you're educating who are, you know, Crypto Lulu or Crypto Hulk or whatever, right? But this notion that, you know, the dollar kind of is a scam if you think about it. I mean, this money printer device that's just been printing money since 1971, if you will, that's really back to nothing. And then, you know, obviously all the talks about government shutdown, stuff like that. And the same problem over and over, just raise the debt ceiling. I mean, me and Mike Cornwell were talking about this the other day. It's like, you know, what's the point of having people work hard and whatnot and paying off debts, especially to other countries? Oh, no problem. We'll just continue to print more money. And it's just like, you wonder why a lot of the world, they hate us, you know, because the way they look at it is they pay off their debts, and we just keep printing more and more money. This is where you have people like many people, you know, you have, you know, basically, as Tim Shea would say, the guy with the bird's nest in his beard, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? I like him. Some of you guys don't, but anyway, he's pointed out that a financial collapse, a crash of the dollar, is going to be a horrible thing, but it's to come. I think there's Rich, Common Sense Crypto, the other Common Sense, not our Common Sense. Although Rich might be our Common Sense, he might secretly watch our show because the whole Mr. Jasera thing and Elon Musk. But anyway, that's beside the point. Shout out to Rich. But the notion that we could see a crazy, you know, death spiral, the dollar crash and so on sounds insane. But when do we get to the point where you have the stock market, and I talked about this with Will Fix earlier, the stock market has been volatile for over 100 years, right? Right? Obviously, the stock market's been around a lot longer than 100 years. But the point is, it's volatile. Then you get this clarity, as the saying goes. Then you get the institutions to finally tokenize. This whole notion of, you know, one particular market, the new monetary system, to tokenize assets, you bring in not just 17 trillion, but you bring in, my God, I mean, if you really add it up, maybe we should add it up at some point. How many trillions will that be? But the main thing is this. It sounds crazy with some of this market cap predictions, okay? Like some of you guys have pointed out, like, was it Boomer or whoever, 25 trillion, that's like, I don't know. I got to double check the comments, but it's nothing close. You know, market cap for Ripple, nothing close to the 10,000 XRP like we were talking about earlier. So my point is, it's like one market, crypto market, is the future if you really think about it, compared to the other market. And again, back to the Will Fix conversation. I'm just going to state it. I feel as though like it's still the Wild West of crypto until we get that regulatory clarity. And with that also said, you know, the bottom line is like right now as we speak, you guys, I always say you guys, right? Because I don't do a lot of degen plays. Right? I mean, I have some from, a year and a half or so ago, okay? But the reality is, you guys love some of those degen plays. You think it's fun. Hey, awesome. What about this for a moment? The stock market then fills in that new void, if you will, because it's still volatile. And then that market, to a sense, becomes your degen plays. Because the way I look at it is, there's no way that crypto in the future, with clarity, you don't get to have degen plays in this market no more. You just don't. So with that said, it has to be non-volatile. It has to have a high stable value, right? So what do people do? Then they just go back to the stock market. They're like, all right, well, I remember most of them, most people, not us, it'll be like, they need that form. They need to fill in that void of, I guess you could say, some of that degen stuff. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but it's like, if you are seeing companies that already existed in stocks, and then they're also going over to tokenization through blockchain and DLT, right? Then doesn't that answer that there is this true shift of this new monetary system, these new technologies and so on, right? So am I too far off with the claim that in the future, it's literally a shift. It's going from one to the other, and going from one to the other is basically that market is already volatile. So people want, I guess you say, the degen plays and whatnot of, the crazy pump and dumps. I hate to say that. It would be the stock market, because it sure as heck can't be, crypto. And especially if 99% of what we know goes away. So if 99% of what we know goes away, where do they go? And my answer is, it has to be something like that. Now, of course, some people say, no, Max, you're wrong. And maybe I am wrong. But my thing is, they'll say, like, you're wrong because you're talking about securities and there's a lot more regulation, et cetera, et cetera. But then what else is there out there? Or maybe that doesn't happen, period, because it's like, no, everything's so strict, they can't even do that. Then what do we have? Backroom deals like in the past? Like, do we have 21st century versions of speakeasies and stuff like that? I'm just saying, all right? Sounds crazy, like technically we're in the 20s. Do we have the 21st century? Do we have the new roaring 20s, which is backdoors, Web3 speakeasies? I shouldn't call it that. Didn't sound right? You get what I'm saying? It sounds crazy, right? Anyway, Elon Musk declares the U.S. dollar a scam amid fears of $33 trillion U.S. death spiral. Bitcoin prices soar. Gets more into this. It says Musk was commenting on an X post asking, what's a scam that's so normalized we don't even realize it's a scam anymore. I mean, that's why Corey Bebe is like, yeah, man, Elon Musk is saying, the dollar is scam, right? Fiat currency must reply, referring to state issued money backed by government borrowing rather than a scarce resource like gold or Bitcoin. Okay. How about scarce resource like, for instance, how about QNT? Right? I was going to throw that in there. Oh, yeah, Max, you're QNT. Yeah, you darn right me my QNT. But you want to know something? I will give a shout out to Cool Cat Crypto. What about BSV? Got the same supply as BTC, but it's got real world utility. And even that is still a buy. Anyway, over the last week, some fiat currency skeptics have warned soaring U.S. debt could create an inflationary death spiral for the U.S. dollar that ultimately pushes up the price of Bitcoin. Not just Bitcoin, guys, but in reality, ones with real utility. And this is where we have this back and forth conversation. We can have all day long. I'm going to come on back into the screen in regards to this one. And my thing is this, and again, it's just my opinion. All right. I'm not, some people like this one guy in the past. Who do you think you're some kind of authority? I didn't say it was authority. I just give my own perspective. People take it any way they want. But you just heard Louis Jackson give those perspectives on cross-border payments. Obviously gave the Ripple XRP example. I give my own examples when it comes to, this central bank, right? I always use the one about Greece, to the Bank of South Korea or whatever. I just say it because there's two obviously totally different ideologies, totally different alphanumeric code. So the messaging layer is just like you're gonna have problems with the old with Swift with the the MT messaging layer. Message truncation gets garbled up. Like, what is this? Like, if I'm literally living in Seoul, instead of saying, like looking at something like, what is this? It just says 35, not 35, but $10 trillion, and that's all it says. Like, okay, like somebody is requesting 10 trillion, obviously, but what time of the day does it need to be sent, and what's the deadline? It gets all truncated. So time is money. But my key thing here is all this stuff that we're talking about. It's nuts. And my thing is, let me jump back to this article real quick. I'm sorry. We were talking about Elon Musk and so on. So yeah, this whole thing of Ripple taking on that debt, I think that's a lot of money, because here in the United States, we're talking about 35, 36 trillion in debt, right? What about the rest of the world and so on? So with what Will Fix was talking about earlier, this whole, it has to happen all at once. Well, back to this whole thing of Elon Musk, it does make you wonder, like he's saying, is Fiat basically a scam? And if so, wouldn't that create that much more demand for crypto? May not seem like it now. The naysayers, people that don't know about this, they're going to say, like, this is all a scam. All they know is about, coming out from like Terra Luna or FTX and so on. Like, they just get that mainstream media news. They don't educate themselves on blockchain and DLT. That notion is just Greek to them. To be honest, I think what we should do when we have people that object against this, and whether it's Boomer F and Sooner, and he's trying to talk to co-workers and they're just kind of dismissing him, or it's who is it, DYOR, who's here tonight, by the way, this guy, right, Crypto Info DYOR, like, he just mentions it too, right? He says he's watching from work where nobody believes in crypto shaking that. So another example, just like Boomer F and Sooner. And the key thing is all these dismissive people, but instead of us trying to talk about crypto and like, well, this will, this is the reason why it's going to do this. Do we have those conversations of, okay, do we say literally immediately, do you know what blockchain is? Most likely they're going to say no. Do you know what DLT is? Like, we could throw that same next. They're going to say no. Are they so blind or deaf or just don't want to hear the different perspective because they just never will understand that? Is that really what separates, I guess you could say, the current rich from the current poor, is just a lot of naive people? Or is it a combination of all of the above? And I mean that no disrespect. Like, I'm not rich yet, right? But it will be at some point. Maybe it is by 2025. Maybe it's before then. But like, how are we going about? What I'm saying is this: how are we going about these conversations? Are we going about it in which we're just saying it's going to be this way because I say it's going to be this way, or are we? And I don't mean this is no disrespect to you guys. Are we not allowed to have the conversations because they won't give us a chance to have the conversation because they just like they're so dismissive that no. I believe in the old model. And this is another thing that comes back at me all the time when I talk about, like, even with some other relatives from back home in Oregon, and that is Bitcoin's a flash in the pan. Like, this is how they talk. Bitcoin's a flash in the pan, and trust me, nephew, basically it's like this, just put your money in real estate. And then I try to say, okay, hey, with that said, what about the tokenization of real estate? And they go, what do you mean tokenization? And I say, well, can I have that conversation with you? And then, you know what they say? Are you referring to crypto again? And I go, yes, I am. Can you give me a chance to just explain this real quick? Nah, I don't want to hear it. So my thing is, like, there's a certain amount of people, they just don't want to hear it no matter what, but they're going to hear it because the mainstream news at some point, like, we know they're going to report on two narratives, big crashes, and man, I wish I would have invested in this. But what is this? Is Bitcoin still the future? And this is where Robert Kiyosaki talks about this. I know I'm going on a tangent. Maybe you guys think I'm rambling. I don't know. Robert Kiyosaki came out with a recent article. The guy wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, saying at some point Bitcoin becomes priceless. But you want to know something? I think Bitcoin still will have its time. A lot of indicators show that will. But what about when it runs out of its time? If it's going to be priceless, what about if it's going to be worthless? Because all the indicators show that for cross-border payments and stuff like that, you don't see that with Bitcoin. And this is where you have Michael Saylor and all these other guys say, especially Robert Kiyosaki as well, but it has a store of value. It doesn't have to do cross-border payments. It has a store of value, and it doesn't matter how long it takes to transfer that. You are storing it, you're waiting for it, and you're sitting on it like it's a, literally like it's your nest egg, if you will. So I see the back and forth in regards to it. For me, I'm going to go with the alts. Why am I going to do that? Just because I'm a fan of altcoins and distributed ledger technologies and the real innovators. Yeah, that's where it's at. The real innovation. It doesn't matter if it's crypto. From what history has taught us is that things have to innovate and they have to scale. How do you get that from BTC? BTC doesn't get that. And I'm not trying to, if you're a Bitcoin maxi, okay, great. Thank you for watching anyway. All right. This is no disrespect to anybody or me picking on anybody, but I'm just looking at it from the perspective, like, did I learn anything from going from Web 1 to Web 2? Here, the way I look at it is some people still use AOL, right? Still use dial-up internet. All right. Some people, not many, right? It still exists for some. Okay. Why you would want to use that is beyond me. So why would people who still want to use BTC is still beyond me? You get what I'm saying? Is it that much of rocket science to basically state that? So my thing is, I know from history to bet on a winner, and winners are innovation all the way, right? And another thing I'll look at, even from the point of like a computer, shout out to you guys that had like an Apple II back in the day. What was the biggest complaint about having an Apple II? You can't do no customizations. Now, I just want you to hear this real quick. You can't do no customizations at all, right? That was like a big problem about it, but it was popular and people liked the Apple II and so on. Guess who was a rising star that came out of the whole thing? A guy by the name of Michael Dell, right? Dell Computers. You could customize your own computer. Now, I get it, man. Dang, Max, you're a gamer. You're referencing Dell. Dell suck, right? Like, dude, you're getting a Dell. It used to be a thing. I get that, right? And, if anything, especially with me and Wheel Fix, we built our own custom computers. Michael Cornwell, right? We all built our own custom computers, and we were proud about that. But for the mainstream, that answered a big void. Hey, I want to be able to upgrade my processor. Hey, I want to be able to upgrade a certain amount of RAM, video card, a few other things. Might be that, be aftermarket, the greatest thing out there. But the point was, it was an upgrade. And in the way I look at it, if you want to apply that to blockchain, DLT, the modern where we're at, and so on, I'm looking at companies, not just, XRP and so on. I'm looking at companies like Stellar. I'm looking at companies that, like Hedera and so on, and some of the other key ones we talk about, or Quant, that will allow you to, connect to all these with interoperability, you name it, or the one we talked about earlier, like Energy Web Token, or IoT with Jasmy and whatnot, a whole bunch of countless examples. That's where I'm looking at. Or how about, since we're talking about Bitcoin earlier, BSV, right? Like 100,000 TPS can scale to 1 million or more. That's crazy stuff. Same supply, same amount of scarcity. It's significantly cheaper. Was it 30? Where we at, Cool Cat? $33, something like that. I bought my first bag at 25. I was glad I did that. I'm still in the profits. How cool is that? But my key thing is, I'm going to bet on innovation, and I'm not going to bet on that old stuff anymore. I mean, the way I look at it is, Bitcoin is like investing into, like a horse and carriage system, going from horse and carriage, to being more innovative. I mean, it's like, I don't know, Studebaker or something like that. Like, nothing against Studebaker, but you get where I'm going with this. It's just innovation. Invest in the innovative players that are entering into Web3. And people say, well, BTC is entering in Web3. Why? Because it's forced to. This is a long debate. I've heard people also say, even Michael Saylor say, well, look at BTC. That one of the reasons why it holds all its value is because not many people sell it. So therefore it drives the price up. Jeez, I'd rather be involved in technology that drives the price up, not just because I have this dinosaur ancient technology. It'd be like if hey guys, look at my my old computer from 1998, for instance. It's still hooked up to, it was got 32 megs of RAM, not megs, gigs, 32 megs of RAM, and I have freaking AOL dial up on it and so on. And but hey man, I'm gonna sell this at the garage sale or something like that. But if you hold on to this, you don't sell it, it's all gonna be good. And it's gonna be an antique. Should we look at BTC? Is that people are investing into an antique, and the antique is what holds its value? Again, back to the Studebaker example, hey, buy this 1955 or 1956 Studebaker Golden Hawk. Well, there's a lot of other things that can outrun it. Hey, that doesn't matter. This is a classic, or this is an antique. You should hold this because it has a high store of value. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, it is what it is. I'm done ranting about it. All right, we obviously have just a little bit more coverage for you guys tonight. We're 2 hours and 34 minutes into it and so on. But let me get more into this real quick. And going further down, Cool Cat Crypto celebration part, WTF are the celebrating is still 50 cents. Because they feel as though they're going to have a full victory, not just 2/3, a full victory, Anyway. Crypto info, DYR, get the likes up. Where's nobody believes in crypto? Oh, yeah, that's right. I reread that. Sorry. All right, let's go further down. I think I'm towards the bottom. Oh, yeah, that's right. I was welcoming you guys. Okay. We talked about Elon Musk and so on. The way you say scam, funny is F. It's just, yeah, I think I was telling Will Fix earlier how I came up with that. So it's basically like this. I could come up with some incredible deep dive research. I'm like, there's this connection, there's that connection, these universities, and these universities are tied into with Toyota, and connect this and connect that, and just knock it out of the park with the research, right? And then you have the one Yahoo all the time who just come in, and then he'll like maybe once in a while post a screenshot of the Jasmy chart, and they just like Jasmy scam. It's like, did you not see the research? No, they don't. They don't care about my research. They don't. That takes too much time. That takes too much effort. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Like, no offense to some people. A lot of us do this. I know that maybe some of you guys. This is where even with my students, it's like they're like, Mr. Stanley, I don't want to watch One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, or I don't want to read One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which by the way is a great book. Read One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's better than the movie. The movie's a great movie, but the book is better than the movie, and it's from the Indians' point of the Native American / what do you want to call him? His point of view. And as we know in the movie, he's not the star, right? It's R.P. McMurphy. But anyway, that's beside the point. The key thing is people just don't want to do the research. They don't read books anymore. It's not like it's a bad general. I hate generalizations, but a lot of people just don't want to read a book. They just want a movie. They don't want to read. Like the other day, I put something out, and all these people were like, doing the same thing, Jasmy scam, and I was saying to myself, there was one guy, and I knew for sure, based on what he posted, that he just looked at the thumbnail and then he just moved along. You know what I mean? They see your thumbnail, they just move along, but they say something bad. At the end of the day, it's not financial advice. That's what comes with the territory being a content creator. But anyway, long explanation. I'm glad you think it's funny, but that's what was referenced. It's because those guys on crypto Twitter, it don't matter what you have. I mean, I could come up with something that says literally like 100% confirmed, such and such institution or like BlackRock or something like that chooses this project, XRP, Jasmy, whatever, right? And these guys would be like, Jasmy scam. It's just like, you just showed me that chart. That's all you showed me. You know how many darn projects are down 90%? They're still solid projects. There's quite a few. Crypto winner, for crying out loud. And people just don't get it. I mean, even with Jasmy, like Mike Cornwall was pointing out, 1.5 billion tokens. We know that there's 50 billion. So 1.5 billion tokens. The market cap was probably like only, I think it was 200,000, 250,000 at the time. So, it's like, yeah, people saw that go to $5, but look what was in circulation. Look at where the market cap was. A big difference compared to where we're at right now. Anyway, long explanation. Sorry about that. Anyway, let's go further down. Elon is right. I mean, yeah, it is, and especially like all the people saying back in 2013, oh, don't get into Bitcoin. It's used for evil things. It's used for drug trafficking. It's used for money laundering. It's used for all these bad things to support drugs and sinister things. Okay. What about fiat? What about cash? So you're not gonna transact with cash. Again, people just get really narrow-minded. It's so. It just shows people they lack critical thinking. Now, I didn't not invest in Bitcoin for those reasons. I actually heard about Bitcoin originally in 2010, but I didn't bother. Again, this is where my problem is. I think if I would have read the Bitcoin white paper and understood what it was, then I would have got into it. But for me at the time, I heard about this new technology. And then I think maybe it was in 2013, something like that. I saw it at Subway, believe it or not. It said that they accepted Bitcoin. I was like, huh. And it was just kind of like that, huh. I wonder what that could really be, what the benefits are, and so on. And it wasn't until maybe 2016, I watched a documentary. There's two of them about Bitcoin. I forgot the names of them. I have it on this service that I use. It's kind of like Netflix, but it's a little bit different. And then I was convinced, yeah, you know what? You probably should throw some money in Bitcoin. And I can't remember if it was $300 or $500, something like that, into Bitcoin. And then I just let it sit. And I let it sit until 2021. And then I was like, wow, this is worth something pretty not too bad. And then from there, I basically said to myself, well, I guess I could use some of this to buy some altcoins and stuff like that. And then some of my other money and so on. But anyway. Yeah. All right, let's go further down. Tim Shea says dollar is definitely a scam since they stopped backing it. Definitely scam. Yes. Yeah, so what are we going to do? Just like not use it anymore? Yeah, actually, that's what's going to happen, right? That guy with the bird's nest is cool. He's here in the local area. He's in the East Valley. Dollar scam. All right, Edward Vincent. Hello, Rich, wherever you are in this great, great world. I don't think he watches all the time, but you know what? There's so many indicators that, like Mike Coyne was pointing out, like that he does that we just, I don't know. I mean, anyway, I've asked him a couple questions. He never like really DM me back, but it is what it is. All right, Magic Power says in the last few weeks, the USA printed $270 billion, and that with $33 trillion in debt. That will be a rude awakening. The U.S. dollar can no longer be saved at the end of 2025. It will be brutal. But that's the key thing, you guys. It's like if we have researched Ripple's on-demand liquidity, we know that XRP answers that. And I think for some people, they, and don't call them Bitcoin. Don't call them Ripple maxis. I mean, some people want to call them that. I mean, in reality, a lot of these guys are invested in other things as well. But this fuels that debate of, it sounds nuts for Ripple to take on that debt. If they take on the debt, we easily get to some of these crazy prices, in my opinion, for XRP. And it's not just Ripple taking on the debt of the United States, but taking on the debts of other places in the world, right? And we know that it's just not just the United States that's in a lot of debt. There's many other countries that are in a lot of debt. You start adding that up, it becomes absolutely nuts. How about adding up, what the institutions will bring in by tokenizing assets? And I mean, I'm not preaching to the choir here. You guys get it. I mean, these Bitcoin spot ETFs and so on, it's a big, big deal. And, we gave the examples of, 15 to 20 doing that. Yeah, you will see the market cap absolutely explode for the overall crypto market cap. Currently speaking, even looking at right now, we are at 1.08 trillion. You get let's use an example. We get 20 Bitcoin spot ETFs live and flourishing, ready to go, and actually things going full force on it. There's no way you're at 1.08 trillion. And we saw little indicators of that before when the market go up to like 1.22. Was it 3 months ago, 2 or 3 months ago? So right now we're at neutral of 43 on the fear and greed index. All right. Why did they remove the debt ceiling? Because they feel as though that they have no choice but to do it, and it's ridiculous. It's basically like this. You and I mean, I don't know if you live in the U.S., but it don't matter. I don't care where you live. We have, some of us have higher higher credit card limits than the next person, right? It depends on your income, depends on what kind of credit you have, depends on a lot of things, right? Some of us, like, maybe our credit limits 50,000, 100,000, whatever the case be. Some people it's only like 10,000, 5,000, whatever, right? Whatever the case be, we have limits. I don't care what you are. You're a teenager who just turned 18, you just established credit. Your guy is 30, your guy is 50, your guy who's whatever age, right? You might own a couple homes. You might, maybe you're well fixed and you have a couple bail bondsman companies and a guitar store because you're cool like that. But whatever the case be, or you're, whoever, right? The key thing is we all have credit card limits. Can you imagine being told, hey, I don't know, like Wells Fargo, hey, Mr. Cornwell, I'm just using him as an example. I saw you ran up, your credit cards. Yeah, I know I did. I'm gonna make some payments. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. You maxed all these out. What the heck? We'll just raise it. We'll raise it another 5,000. It's cool. Why? We don't really have much choice right now. You know what I mean? Doesn't that sound crazy? Right? So we're held accountable to it, but the U.S. government is not held accountable to it. I mean, they say that they are, but they just come up with a whole thing of kick that can down the road. But something? We're going to run out of time of kicking that can down the road, and nobody has the solution, or do they? And to me, the solution, honestly, is to have some of these ones that are tied into crypto, like what is Ripple's XRP. That's a real solid solution, right? That's another deep dive for another day. I'll tell you guys this much, right? I know that we're almost at the 3-hour mark. I think one of my next deep dives, and I know it's been talked about before, but you want to know something? I don't think fully. I want to give my own perspective. So Will Fix gave his own perspective. I think I want to give my own perspective on on-demand liquidity, right? I know I talked about it before, but I really want to get more into it. On-demand liquidity and Nostro Vostro accounts and what banks are required to hold. And then once you finally understand, even if you're not a Ripple holder, I think people will finally get it. What is the way we could put it in layman's terms? I try to explain this. I think I explained it to one of my friends recently. So again, the concept of this is empty. All right. Let's say I represent XYZ bank. All right. Well, with Nostro Vostro accounts and so on, it says I have to hold a certain amount of liquidity. What about when I run out of liquidity? And again, I know I don't want to go too deep in this because I'm going to do it later. To me, Ripple's XRP fills in that void of constantly refilling, right, that liquidity. What about when we get a liquidity crisis? We already seen a liquidity crisis. How have we seen a liquidity crisis? Come on. Last recession, there's a liquidity crisis. So that liquidity crisis for those banks, a lot of them ran out of liquidity. And as a result, we have what? Bank bailouts. What if we would have had Ripple's XRP fully in force at that time? And instead of our nation, our country, getting much further into debt, because I mean, now we're at 35, 36 trillion, give or take. Maybe it's higher. I don't know. Maybe it's 38 trillion. I have to double check. But during that time, I mean, let's say we're at half. Well, what's going on with my voice? Getting crypto Hulk style. So at that time, instead of getting further and further more into that debt by our government bailing out these banks, and I get it, like some people, whether they're for Obama or not, it was pointed out, look, we actually had to bail out the banks, whether you like that or not, because it would have been an absolute collapse of our society or financial system as we know it, whether we want to agree to disagree on that or not. But what if you really would have had all this technology then? And what if you were able to, have the likes of Ripple's XRP, the beast, basically come in, I guess you could say, save the day. And it's not just saving the day, but with real technology to do that. I don't know if anybody's really truly explained that. I think maybe Lewis Jackson, some of these other guys, maybe Zach Rector, a few of the other guys explain it. But this whole notion of people knowing about Ripple's on-demand liquidity, I think it kind of gets mentioned. But I'm not saying I'm like really a true expert on it. I'm going to give my own perspective. But I don't think I'm too far off on some of the things. And that basically is, could you imagine if that tech was out then, full in force? What do you want to call it? We have proper regulations, whatever the case be. But that was chosen to solve a solution. Do we get to the point where they get to solve that solution at any given point? Or do we keep kicking the can down the road? Ripple or whoever doesn't ever get to solve the solution. And what happens is, boom, we are in a crisis. The dollar is completely collapsed. And then the stock market obviously crashes. Okay. I hate this. I don't want to report. This sounds like doom and gloom, right? I don't want to sound like the Hal Lindsey of crypto. So the dollar collapses, stock market crashes again. I mean, if you think about it, we look at 1929, right? Like that's not that we're almost at the 100-year mark of that. So we'd be in the 21st century version of that. And basically, yeah, it's like, what? Okay, so that market crashes, stock market, very volatile, dollar not backed by anything, right? As the saying goes, like doom and gloom. What do you think that's going to do for crypto market? You really think crypto also will go to zero? No, that's where supply and demand kicks in. And then you see these ones that have already done their thing by making the partnerships with other banks of the world and so on, that creates that much more demand. It's access. It's access, and it's basically providing solutions to the problem. I think they already have these solutions to the problem. You know, the flip of the switch, this, I think, further solidifies those concepts of flipping that switch. But when will that happen? I don't have exact answers, but for me, everything leads towards the end of 2025. And I've been criticized heavily about this. But I don't care. I'm allowed also to have an opinion. Just because I'm a content creator, I do have the right to have freedom of thought. And that's the way I personally look at it. Whether it happens or not, I don't know. I'm not a fortune teller. And I'm also not a doom and gloom teller. But I'm sharing my own personal opinion, my own point of view on how I look at it. Crazy scenario. It is what it is. All right, we're almost at the 3-hour mark. I think there's just a tad bit left of what we're going to share tonight. I'm just going to read a few more comments. Give me just a second to pull up what we have. I think at this last part, I know we don't really talk about memes and so on, so I'm not really going to super get into it, but I have been aware, and some people have messaged me about it, and they say, Max, have you seen the Jesus token? And I said, well, you guys know me. I don't really talk about memes and so on. But just on the surface, I just want to state this. So I did look more into the contract. I mean, anybody can do this. I don't know why you guys don't do this. Just giving you guys a heads up. It has 100% perfect score on Token Sniffer. So for you guys that are in that, you're into that. I won't mention more about it. But according to the report, B. Stellar, who's the guy that follows me, I follow him as well, from a big proponent of Jasmy and the Stellar, a Stellar fan. He has this report, and he basically, I'll just say it verbatim. I'm not even share it. He said 3 hours ago, it's up 90% in the last hour, and it's pushing 280% on the weekly. This is the next big meme. He says, y'all need Jesus. I don't know. I mean, for me, I really stay away from memes. But at the same time, I missed out on Pepe. I realize that. I don't know. Maybe you guys look into it. I'm not saying that we're going to look into it heavily. Do your own research, because we don't really want to talk about memes and so on. But it's worth pointing out. That's one thing I said to myself. I'm curious about this. I want to see what kind of score he has. And yeah, 100% score. The ownership is renounced, all that good stuff. So I don't know. maybe look into it if you want, but be careful with stuff like that. All right, Corey Bibe, tokenization worldwide and cash. Don't be FUD in my AOL. Yeah, you probably still like getting that whole message of you got mail, right? I remember some of my friends back in the day, especially in the early days of Medal and Allied Assault, who were still on dial-up. This guy's name was Snake, Snake, Solid Snake. He would play from AOL, but he had a V90 modem. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but basically for the average person that was on 56K, like they would try to play that at 450 ping. It's like, come on, how can you play like that? But they would do it. But when this guy played, he would get anywhere from like 175 to 200 ping, which that's amazing for dial-up. Anyway, all right, let's see here. Boom. According to Elon Musk, Koi Core, my very first home computer, Tandy X1000. Interesting. I know for a lot of you guys it was Commodore 64, but that's okay too. Edward Vincent, happy Indigenous Peoples Day coming up, aka Columbus Day, right? Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Edward Vincent. Magic Power, the only cryptocurrency in this world that has regulatory clarity is XRP. Banks, governments love regulatory clarity. That's a great point. Cool. You are still live. Crappy sell at the rink. Oh, I'm sorry. Magic Power, countries are selling all their U.S. government bonds. BRICS are formatting themselves against the U.S. Petrodollar is being replaced by the Petro Yuan. Yeah. Deep dive, Caroline Pogo stick Vaseline, no scam. Jeez, and we confirmed there really is a Caroline Inu, and it's not even worth a penny. Can you imagine that? It's 0.11 zeros and a 3. Like I said, I mean, Vitaly Buterin's booger on the side of his wall, like you show where he wipes it off. It sounds so disgusting. It's probably worth more than that. Caroline's tattered thong scam. All right. Danilo, hey everyone, have a good night. See you all next week. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. Yes, you have a great night as well, Mr. Ear. All right. Absolutely. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check this last thing. I'm pretty sure I have it. Let's look at what I was retweeting earlier. And let's see here. It is, what is this? Yes, this is the last part. And again, it's just a little bit more Ripple. So tonight's coverage obviously was dominated by Ripple's XRP and, of course, Jasmy as well. So this will be the last part. This is shared from Mr. Man. Let me put the branding back on real quick because I don't know, it's kind of cool to a sense. Maybe you don't like it, maybe you do. But yeah, it comes from Mr. Man, great content creator. Give him a follow. And like he says right here, Ripple dives. And basically speaking, it states dives deeper into the metaverse. Can you imagine that? Who would ever thought that, Ripple, is being mentioned in the metaverse, because we're always talking about cross-border payments and stuff. It says Ripple dives deeper into the metaverse with $54 million investment. We'll share that in a second. But like he says, remember Ripple is already staking its claim in the metaverse. McKinsey has forecasted the metaverse to be worth $5 trillion. Interledger is essential to the metaverse. So, I like to share something a little bit different from the conventional thing that we share all the time. This will be the last segment of the night. Let's go ahead and check this out. Here we go.
We are all grappling with since the announcement from Meta, but also since many years when this sector has been developing throughout. And I think this year, McKinsey came out with a report that said it's already worth 120 billion, the metaverse economy, in 2023, and this could even rise to 5 trillion in 2030, and that's a big number. So I'm very happy we are all grappling with since the announcement from
I'm muted. Sorry about that. There's a little bit more here. It says Ripple dives deeper into metaverse with 54 million investment in the futureverse. That was reported 3 months ago, but it's one of those things that probably flew under the radar. This other part. Additionally, the Interledger protocol, right, is an open protocol connecting different payment systems, which could be essential to enable cross-platform transactions in the metaverse. So pretty cool stuff. I was glad to be able to share that. I do like Mr. Man's content. I feel as though he does a lot of great deep dive research as well. My bad. There is one more. This is from Tokenizer. Let's just share this real quick as well. Great content creator. We're going to close things out here in a bit. Some of you guys have asked me, Max, why do people say we're early? What does that really mean? Well, it's really simple, but this is a great explanation from Tokenizer. So how early are we? Well, he's asked 100 people if they know about BTC and ETH, like he has. You do as well, right? And you imagine that 50 to 75% say yes. Now do the same, and this is a good point. So let's stop doing it. Because normally when we mention Bitcoin, I think people have heard of it. Maybe some people have heard of the Ethereum, not as much as Bitcoin. But what we need to do is rephrase how we go about this. So you guys having people from work being dismissing all this. So now let's do the same with, for instance, Casper, Chengdu Chain, LackChain, QNT. But you educate them on it if they're willing to hear it. FIFA using Algo, Octane Render, obviously using Render, Singapore E-Trade with XDC and also the Morpheus network, IBM WorldWire, Stellar, and also Stronghold. I know that Danilo left. He would have been like, you'll be lucky to get 3 yeses. Heck, you'd be lucky if you could get 1 yes, right? But if you're going to mention any of this, back it up. And how do you back it up? You do your own research. And who do you do it with? You do it with me and the rest of our wonderful community. So with that said, let's go ahead and close it out tonight. I'm going to read the last bit of comments. And let's see here. It's Patrick Collier flexing. Brittany, thank you again for the super chat. And Brian Dowie says, dat pogo stick. So yes, we're going to tokenize pogo sticks. And you're going to get a reward token of the Caroline Inu. And you want to know something? The next thing you're going to have is, let me share this with you. I know so I'm going to close it out, but this is kind of funny. Shout out to Jose Mesquiz, who, I don't know, he shared this with me. What the heck is it? Can I share this? Shoot, I can't. Yeah, maybe I can. Hold on. It's hilarious. It's a tube. It's a FOMO cream. Hold on. Let me pull it up. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Oh, it's not in there. Maybe I'll share it from Facebook. I gotta pull this up. Hold on a second. If I can't pull it up, I'll get it next time. That's not it. That's not it either. Dang it. You know who always has me say dang it is Edward Vincent. All right, hold on a second. It's Maximus. What, Maximus? That's right, called FUD and FOMO. Hold on. All right, yeah, let's share this real quick. This is kind of cool. FUD. All right, yeah, I know where I'm gonna share this real quick. I'm gonna share it to a site, and then I can share it with you guys. So give me 1 second, load this up. This is kind of cool. I might start include this in some of the thumbnails. It's just too good not to share it. All right. Let's share this real quick. Yeah, there we go. And then let's edit this. Make it a little bit bigger. Yep. Here we go. Here you go. Check this out. This is going to close it out for sure. What you all need in your life is some maximum strength. Maximus's FUD and FOMO, presented to you by CVS or CMC. I don't know. See that? You like that? Everybody needs some FUD and FOMO. Some FUD and FOMO, baby. All right. Shout out to Jose Musquiz for creating the image. Crypto Hulk just needs to take some of that and just basically wipe it all over his back. And, it would probably take it off way better than Nair, right? Way better than Nair. Shout out to Crypto Hulk, right? Doing it big. All right, you guys. Have a great night, everybody. Yes, absolutely. Shout out to this Mr. Squidward, Edward Vincent, Kat. Thank you for making it. Thank God you found the channel. Patrick Collier, have a good one. You too. Boom. Brittany, thank you again. Brian Dowie, boom. And Will Fix. Get used to seeing more of Will Fix and his videos on our channel. How cool is that? Good night, good night. Yes, yes. And Patrick Collier, WrestleMania, baby. You know what? What happened to Stardog? We need to see more of Stardog. So, all right, one last announcement before we go, and that basically is I'm really on the fence about just doing live shows like every day of the week again. I'm on the fence about I don't know. It just depends on the progress of my dad and so on, but we'll see, maybe possibly. Tomorrow, as you guys know, I won't be here with you guys tomorrow, but there will be a Twitter space, and it will be at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific. So we are bringing that back because tomorrow is Friday. So I hope to see you guys there. And if anything, it should be cool. So we'll see what happens with that. All right. 30 minutes away from 44 hours. It is? No, it says 55 minutes. Do it. Do it. Do it now. All right. I'm going to let you guys go. I got to make a phone call real quick. And then after that, yeah. Adios, amigos and amigas. For the Rice Crop Consortium. Let's go. What's this? Don't overexert yourself, Max. Oh boy. I don't know how to interpret that one, but anyway. T-Lens, bye everybody. All right. Goodbye, Tia and everybody else. And for real, adios, amigos and amigas. All right. Peace out. Have a good one. Come to the Twitter space tomorrow. All right. Cool.